Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Good morning, it's 4 minutes past 6. It is Monday, September the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Build your own car, or with a few clicks, they make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling, and joining us live this morning, right through till 10 o'clock from Glasgow, is Ally McCoist. Morning, Coisty.
Jeff, how are you this morning, mate? You good form?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks, mate. Are you?
I'm in great form, mate. Good weekend. Saw some good football, saw some average football, saw some poor football. But over the weekend, you had a great weekend, mate.
So, you know what, Coisty? I'm just going to say this now. I saw some good football. I saw some blooming awful football. I saw too much football. Look, I worked out. I watched 6 live matches over the weekend. Plus match of the day, plus the EFL highlights, plus listened to Hartlepool 0, Boreham Wood 0 on Saturday afternoon. I reckoned that was 15 to 16 hours of my weekend. taken up with football. By the time you got up, had a shower, had a shave, got dressed, eaten, and walked the dog, that's it. That's it.
Mate.
Weekend is completely done.
I know. Well, I was at 4 games and watched another.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I know. And it wasn't. Sadly, it wasn't the best. None of the games will stay in the memory too long, mate.
Well, they will. I mean, Rangers Celtic, that'll stay in the memory because it was terrible.
Oh,
I mean, so was Leeds Newcastle. You were there.
I know.
Yeah, you were there,
wasn't
weren't you?
it?
Yeah.
Oh no, I watched that one.
Oh, you watched it?
I watched that one. That was a terrible game as well, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, and let's be brutally honest. Liverpool Arsenal, apart from the goal, that was a bit of a bore fest as well.
I don't disagree with you. I think you take the goal away. I think that was probably the biggest disappointment because we were all really looking forward to that one. And you're correct. I mean, the goal was out of this world, to be honest with you. Beautiful strike of the ball. But apart from that, there wasn't an awful lot to write home about, was there, really?
There wasn't. So what did you make of the Old Firm?
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, it was a terrible game of football. It really was. I thought first half, Rangers was slightly better, the best of a bad bunch to a bad pair, by the way. And then the second half, oh dear me. A couple of mates over from Canada, Jeff, they couldn't believe they were watching. I mean, I think they couldn't wait to get back and watch the Whitecaps. That's how bad it was. It was terrible, mate. But no, second half, it just looked as though both of them were scared to lose. The goalkeeper's never had a save to make. I mean, Rangers were. I was looking obviously from Rangers' point of view, and they were poor enough. But I don't think Celtic had a shot at goal. I think they'd maybe one hit Tati late on, and Rangers goalkeeper Schmeichel didn't have any saves either. I just thought the quality and the standard of the game was really poor, mate. Really poor.
Has it bought Russell Martin a bit of time if he needed time to be bought?
Maybe, to be honest with you. I think there'll be a bit of activity. It looks as though Dessa's away, Raskin might be away. I think they're going to have a busy 24 hours. I think it probably has, to be honest with you. But it was forgettable.
It certainly was. Look, in fairness to that Rangers and Celtic, it wasn't the only forgettable game of the weekend, but there were some crackers as well. So look, let's reflect on what a weekend it was in the Premier League on talkSPORT.
That is ludicrous. I can't accept that.
And Chelsea somehow have a 2-goal lead that they barely deserve. What about this? 5 minutes gone. Tottenham 0, Bournemouth 1. Evan-Nilsson has put the cherries in front.
It is Sunderland 2, Brentford 1. Wilson Isidore on as a substitute.
Another defeat for Wolves. Now 3rd in a row at the start of this campaign, and it's finished Wolves 2, Everton 3.
Oh, and he's put it in the back of the net. Bruno Fernandes puts the ball in the back of the net. Manchester United 3, Burnley 2 from the penalty spot.
Full time, Leeds 0, Newcastle 0.
Brighton and Hove Albion match winner, surely with just a minute to go. And Brian Gruder has got it as they come from behind to be the might of Manchester City.
Well, this is absolutely remarkable. Nottingham Forest 0, West Ham United 3.
What a goal! Liverpool 1, Arsenal 0. It's an absolute net buster from Szoboszlai. Getty with a colour! What a moment! Wow. And if this is goodbye, you couldn't have a better finish. If ever Aston Villa have got a bogey team, it's Crystal Palace.
Yeah, what a win it was for Crystal Palace, and what a night it was for Mark Gahey. Absolutely sensational. Of course, we kicked off. I kicked off actually with Leicester Birmingham in the Championship on Friday night, which was not a great game. Really, I was so disappointed with Birmingham. But then on Saturday, we had the VAR fiasco at Stamford Bridge.
I didn't watch that one. That was funny.
Which one didn't you watch, Coisty?
I didn't watch a Leicester game. It finished 1-0, I'm taking it.
Finished 2-0.
Was it 2-0, did it?
It was terrible. The only thing that lit up the game, to be honest, when the young boy Monga came on for Leicester at the end, and he looks fearless. He looks a real prospect. But then we went on to Saturday lunchtime, didn't we? And Well, I am speechless, really, between what happened between Chelsea and Fulham. Howard Webb has reportedly already apologised. Well, big deal. Big deal. I bet Marco Silva is ecstatic about that. One of the most shambolic decisions. Well, there was more than one moment in the match. But
there was, mate. There was.
But the one we're all talking about was the Josh King goal. I'm going to blow my own trumpet, by the way, because before the season started, I said he was one to look out for, and he's already showing that is the case. But Michael Salisbury, the VAR, getting involved, and then Rob Jones not having the bottle to overrule him just staggered me.
Yeah. I mean, it was a shocking decision. I mean... everybody... a man and movement you've heard just quite rightly. Sorry about am I losing you there, mate?
We lost you just for a moment. We got you back now, though. Or have we? Well, probably not.
All right, sorry, mate.
Oh, yes,
I was
you
just saying it's probably one of the worst. Yeah, I'm just saying probably one of the worst decisions we've seen over the weekend, or we saw over the weekend, Jeff, to be honest with you. I mean, for the life of me, cannot understand why VAR would get involved in something like that. I mean, it's absolute madness. I mean, I just could not comprehend it. And then to compound matters, you know, the penalty decision, we could talk about that as well, whether there was a free kick in Anderson. I personally think there was. I heard the lads on talkSPORT yesterday. I think it was Scott Minto was saying he didn't think it was. I think it was. I think Pedro fouled him. And then there was another handball prior to the handball. It was just one of these days for Marco Silva and his team where they must have been shaking their heads in the dressing room, Jeff.
Yeah, and I know the added time at the end of the first half. I know they say a minimum of 8 minutes. But when you've put up your board, a minimum of 8 minutes, okay? And then those 8 minutes are up and there have been no delays, no stoppages, nothing whatsoever. Yeah. What then changes it to be a minimum of 9 and a bit minutes?
No, I know. It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. But what about the incident to disallow the boys' goal, Jeff? I mean, it was a scandal. And fair play to you, because the kid, I heard the lads talking about him prior to the game in talkSPORT. He looks a real talent, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does. He looks like he's got no fear whatsoever. I mean, they brought him through quite gradually. You know, and I think that's paying dividends now. And Fulham are down there in the bottom three at the moment. But I tell you what, Coisty, they won't finish down there.
No chance.
They look a really decent side.
Well, they probably should have beaten Manchester United or the game last week. So no chance. Just a little bit of a slow start. But I thought, you can argue completely, Jeff, that the United game and of course the game at the weekend at Stamford Bridge, very unlucky not to collect full points.
Yeah, Jack says he was at Stamford Bridge and he was fuming at what football's come to too.
Yeah.
Arsenal fans, let's just talk very briefly about what happened at Anfield yesterday. Was yesterday a massive missed opportunity, and who is to blame for that defeat? Let's hear what Stephen the Gunners fan thinks.
Arteta choked today. We spent £60 million on a player, put him on the bench. Liverpool were absolutely there for the taking as well. That's what kills me. They didn't even play very well, did they? You know what I mean? It just, when it came to it, he just wanted to go defensive and put three defensive midfielders, try and stop them from scoring. We didn't even try and win the game. That's what kills me. It absolutely kills me. Eze comes on, looks incredible. He's doing all sorts.
Stephen, you're right.
It wasn't as like, there's transfers about, players that aren't ready and they haven't been training for 2 weeks. He's bang on, ready to go, isn't he? So you put him on the pitch, let him do what he wants to do. I don't understand it at all. He's absolutely choked today, Arteta.
Look, Coisty, just briefly, we will talk about it a lot more during the course of the morning. Mikel Arteta coming in for a bit of flack today. Does he deserve it?
Well, I take the caller's point there, to be honest. I didn't think Liverpool were at their best. I thought Arsenal were a disappointment, really. Yeah, Liverpool win the game with a fantastic goal. Not a great game. Centre forward beginning to worry me ever so slightly at this early stage, Jeff. You know what I mean? In a game like that, was maybe expecting a little bit more from him. Yeah, I can understand Arsenal fans being disappointed in the level of performance, and obviously the buck stops with the manager. But at the same time, you can argue they could have walked away with a point there, and if they started the season with 3 points at Old Trafford and a point at Anfield, then they'd probably been happy with that. But yeah, I wouldn't be going overly, over the top, giving people stick. I just thought it was a poor game, to be honest with you, mate.
03717223344 Arsenal fans, give us a call. Do you agree with Stephen? And by the way, AB has got it sussed, Coisty. He said, sounds like Ali's the problem. Every game he went to was boring. There you go. You ought to blame Coisty.
Might not be wrong, I tell you. I had a poor weekend, mate. Poor weekend in terms of the level of quality.
Well, look, we'll improve the quality in the next 3 3/4 hours. Hopefully, anyway.
Fingers crossed.
Coming up, we'll turn our attention to the back pages and which goalkeeper will be in goal for United's next game.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defensive depth.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about trophies. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
6:21. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me this morning. Coisty, any idea who that might be?
No. Should I have?
No.
Thank you.
You'll associate him with something else, because that was the debut single from Sergio Ramos.
Seriously?
Yes, seriously. It's called Sibelis. I think it was a goddess. So he was footballing god, so there you go.
There you go then.
How many out of 10 would you give it?
At this early stage, 4.
4. I think that's extremely generous.
I'm in a good mood this morning.
Yeah. Webbo's texted in. He said, "Morning, lads. Listening to you boys whilst on a walk. I've had to stop under a tree as it's raining torrentially, so I thought I'd message. I thought yesterday both Arsenal and Liverpool were playing for a draw, knowing that City had lost. P.S. Could you get me a taxi? I'm drenched." Well, no taxi's going to take you, Webbo, if you're drenched, that's for sure. Quickly, Ali, on the breaking news overnight, Alexander Isak to Liverpool on deadline day is going to go through. £125 million looks to be the final price, something like that, maybe with some add-ons as well. Looking at Liverpool yesterday, Ali, did you think it showed that they needed Isak?
I think that's a bit harsh, Jeff. I mean, scored 4 against Bournemouth, 3 against Liverpool. So, obviously, they were struggling a little bit in front of goal. Any team could do Isak, Jeff. Any team could do with him. But no surprise at all, because I did say as soon as that happened, I didn't think there was any way back for him, Jeff. I said it 3 or 4 times in the show. I thought it was only a matter of time before Newcastle got somebody in and a deal was done. So no major surprises for me there, mate.
No. Quick word from Daz, by the way, as a clarity. He says, never mind the Chelsea-Fulham game. VAR robbed Burnley at Old Trafford, disallowed an onside Burnley goal and gave a penalty for contact outside the box. We'll talk a lot more about it later, Daz.
Yeah.
Rest assured, stay listening. But right now, it's time for today's Back Pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle baking bread? Improve your take-home dough with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big 3 networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
And Olivia's with us again. Morning, Olivia.
Morning, Olivia.
Morning. How are you?
Yeah, good,
excellent.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm guessing Alexander Isak broke too late for most of the early editions of the papers.
Yeah, I'm sort of bored of it as well. I'm sort of like, we've been talking about it for so long now.
If you're a Liverpool fan, you're not bored of it.
I mean, yeah, true.
You
yeah,
know.
everyone else is. Newcastle fans are definitely bored of it. So it isn't Alexander Isak that dominates the back pages. It is Liverpool winning at Anfield. And obviously, it's all about Dominic Szoboszlai's free kick, and understandably so. One of the best free kicks we've seen. It was absolutely brilliant. But I want to get your thoughts on the Arsenal setup. And I just felt like it was quite safe from Mikel Arteta.
Safe? What?
As in, like,
no.
I felt like with Martin Odegaard not fit enough to start, to go with Mikel Merino, I just thought, why not go with a Bere Eze? He's match fit. He's ready to play. He's absolutely brilliant. He loves to play in that number 10. And I just felt like Arsenal didn't go there to win.
Yeah, well, Coist, I don't know what you think, but he lined up with 4 defenders and 3 defensive midfield players. There was a pretty clear message there.
Well, I think so.
Arsenal were there not to concede.
Yeah, I think that goes without saying. I take Olivia's point as well. I mean, it's probably a little bit harsh on Declan Rice, because we all thought the Zubimendi signing would allow him to get forward from a deeper position in midfield, and I think he does try and do that. But obviously, the injury to Saka, I think the front 3 kind of picked itself. But I mean, yeah, the main decision was not to start with as and play Mourinho, which clearly is a far more defensive move. Yeah, I'd take that.
Obviously, Sob's stunner is the back of the Daily Express Sport. I mean, Ali, just what are your thoughts on that free kick? Because it's one of the best. I still don't know how he's done it, to be perfectly honest. But he does love a worldie, Dominic Szoboszlai, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant strike. You get back and see when you look at it, Jeff, Olivia, it kind of hits it with the instep. It was Ronaldo was the first one I seen do that, when they come up and they kind of hit it and it goes up and whips and bends at the same time. It was just a fantastic strike. Goalkeeper had no chance. But it was interesting because I'm sure I heard last night the goalkeeper talking about a relatively new ball.
You did.
And he said they might be struggling to come to terms with the movement of the new ball. But anyway, whether you think that's an excuse or not, there was no denying it was a tremendous goal.
Coisty, how were you on free kicks?
Nah, never get involved in them, Jeff. I used to be in. I'd gone in a one off the goalkeeper, but no, I'm not hitting them for 30 yards, mate. That wasn't my game. I can tell you. No. I can guarantee you that wasn't mine.
You know, I'm sitting watching that game at home yesterday, and when you see the shot from behind Szoboszlai, you realise how ridiculous the goal was. And I sat there and I swear, I said to myself, because there was nobody else in the room with me, nobody was willing to watch it with me, I said to myself, you just can't shoot from there.
I know.
And lo and behold, you know, brilliant.
I know.
To beat David Raya, I think, as well, who's one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. And yeah, I did find it funny that David Raya was saying, you know, we've got to adapt to the new ball, you know, the way it moves. And I was just like, I'm not having that. But obviously, yeah, they dominate the back pages of the Mirror as well, Liverpool. But also, United in dash for new number one. United are still pushing to sign a goalkeeper before tomorrow's deadline. I mean, Bayindir and Onana haven't quite covered themselves in glory this season, have they? And obviously, Emi Martinez not in the squad. I don't know did you see Unai Emery's pre-match interview when he was just like, Marco Bizot. Didn't really give us a clue on where Emi Martinez is going, but it looks like he is off to Manchester United.
Yeah, you'd have to say that looks to be the case. I mean, they've had a serious problem with the goalkeeper, Manchester United, haven't they? And there was rumours Martinez at the end of the season was leaving Villa. So I don't think there's no real surprise there, because Manchester United, I think, are in desperate need of a number one that they can rely on, because they don't have that at the moment, that's for sure.
And Villa are in desperate need of getting Emi Martinez's wages off the bill, because if you saw the game last night, but more specifically, if you looked at the Villa bench, you thought, oh my goodness, Villa could be in a bit of trouble here. I'm not talking about relegation, but you certainly can't expect the sort of season that they've had in the last couple of seasons. By the way, talking about teams in trouble, I just want to mention Nick, the Cherries fan, has just texted me in, and he said, is Jeff still sticking to his prediction of Bournemouth being relegated? We've upgraded on Kirkers with Truffer, and on Saturday we dominated Spurs, who didn't have a single shot until the 70th minute. Nick, what do you think? I'm obviously being made to look a total muppet. Memories of my predictions of Liverpool winning the title last season fading into the distance apace. Bournemouth were brilliant, and yes, Nick, yes, I've changed my mind completely about Bournemouth going down. I mean, I didn't realise how good Andoni Iraola is and how fantastic the recruitment is. And Truffer, you're right, Truffer is fantastic. Brilliant.
Great performance at the weekend, wasn't it? What a great performance.
What a performance. Thanks, Olivia. That was a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business. Coming up, talkSPORT is your home for Deadline Day, bringing you every deal as they happen. But should the deadline come 3 games into the new season? We'll discuss that next.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle baking bread? Improve your take-home dough with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big 3 networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
after that Ronaldo strike against Portsmouth in 2008 inspired academy players everywhere. Here's a young Mason Mount.
I tried to base my free kick on Ronaldo, hit the ball by the valve and it moves. So what do you do? Top corner.
Now, no ball is perfectly aerodynamic, so as it travels, it creates ever-changing pockets of turbulent air, causing that unpredictable movement. Football's most prolific free-kick taker, Juninho Pernambucano, perfected the technique but didn't invent it. He was inspired by players from the 90s and even the 50s. So how do you do it? You have to hit the ball head-on with as short a contact time as possible so the ball doesn't spin. Hitting by the valve helps with that short contact time, as it's the hardest part of the football. So why don't we see knuckleballs much anymore? It's because players are being told not to shoot from dead ball situations because the XG is so low. In fact, as Opta shows here, since the 08-09 season, there's been a 10% reduction in players shooting from free kicks in the Premier League. And in 23-24, a record low of 11 free kicks found the back of the net. And the knuckleball, though spectacular, is imprecise, which is why it's becoming a thing of the past.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. Coisty, did you hear the story on the news there with Amelia about the boy who mimics seagulls?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was really impressive, but you'd only want to hear that once, wouldn't you?
Yes. But I'll tell you what, Stelling Towers, we have a family of seagulls nesting in our garden.
No.
Yeah, and we have seagull chicks at the moment as well. And I'll tell you what, every single morning you wake up, you think you're in Brighton because the noise of the seagulls
Jeff,
is just amazing. What type?
What time do they start?
Oh, what time?
This is the all-important one because, listen...
6:30 daylight, basically.
Oh, mate. How are you handling that?
Well, the wife feeds them, so inevitably. I mean, these are not seagulls any longer. They're just gulls because they've never seen the sea.
I know,
and they're never likely to see the sea because they get hand-fed with all these morsels. One of them, this is true, we have these glass doors at the back of the house. And one of the seagulls, one of the parent seagulls, comes and bangs his beak on the door in the morning if we haven't fed them. I swear that is true.
Honestly?
It is, honestly. We're going to change the name to Shay Seagull, I think, of the house. It's honestly, it's bonkers. They'll be out there now, swooping around and making noises like the boy did there as well. Anyway, look, let's talk about football. The transfer window closes in a few hours' time. It's been... a busy few months because some amazing stories unfolding from Alexander Isak and Johan Visser to Eberici Eze agreeing terms with Spurs before joining Arsenal. We've seen big money transfers, haven't we? Victor Gyökeres going to Arsenal, Florian Wirtz joining Liverpool. Record-breaking spending, over £2.6 billion being exchanged over the past few months. It's been a transfer window for the ages, if you like. Have you got a favourite transfer so far, Coisty?
Oh, favourite transfer. Ekitike I've enjoyed, by the way, Jeff. I've got to say it, Liverpool. I know he never got a mention there. Florian Wirtz got a mention. Who else? I mean, Sunderland have started pretty well.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Yeah, I think they'd come into the equation, wouldn't they?
They would. Well,
Granit Xhaka.
Granit Xhaka, the ball he played in for the Isidore header to win the game, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I would say he's probably caught the eye as much as anybody, to tell you the truth.
Oh, fantastic. And Sunderland have caught the eye as well. David texted, he said, Jeff, don't forget, Sunderland are back with a bang. Top dogs in the Northeast. Mind the gap, he said, with a smile. Yeah, enjoy it, David. Enjoy it. Now, Ali, I want to get your thoughts on the transfer window shutting on the back of the third round of Premier League fixtures. There's a lot of calls, aren't they, for the transfer window to be closed before a ball is kicked. What do you think?
I think that's it. I think that's fair. I don't understand, and maybe you can tell me, enlighten me a little bit. Who was it came up with the date rather, that it closes at, in the back of the third round of Premier League fixtures? I think it would make more sense before the first fixture, to tell you the truth, Jeff. I can't really understand why there has to be a reason for it. What it is, I don't know. Maybe you know, but I just think it would make far more sense that before the first ball's kicked. To be honest with you, mate.
Yeah, I know the Premier League considered it again during the course of this year. And it has happened in the past. I think the issue, Coisty, might be if we stop buying and selling the day before our Premier League season starts.
Yeah.
But Europe doesn't. It leaves British teams at a distinct disadvantage compared to European sides.
Yeah. I get that. But I'm thinking to myself, are you talking about from the angle that British sides could be under pressure still to sell their top players if there was a European window open? Or are we saying the window closes, therefore you can't buy or sell? Do you know what I mean, Jeff?
Yeah.
I think that would be fairer. Does it make you weaker? I'm not so sure. I don't think it makes you weaker if you can't sell. I get the part about not being able to buy and other teams being able to buy, but if you've got your squad 2 or 3 weeks earlier than most, I know. I just think it should be perhaps a rule across UEFA, perhaps. You know what I mean? But that would be probably very difficult to enforce, I would imagine. But it just doesn't make. I don't think it makes real sense, Jeff. The third game theory. Do you know what I mean? Is there a possibility or an option or a case to be made, Jeff, to do away with the window altogether? Would that suit anybody? Do you think?
It's something, Ali, I've always advocated. When transfer windows were introduced, I think one of the reasons was that there was, year-long speculation about who might be going where and how unsettling that would be for players and for clubs. So transfer windows were introduced. And what do we have now? We have year-long speculation about who might be going where. So to me, it doesn't seem to work. And, I look at managers in the Premier League now, for example, who had that window closed before a ball was kicked, would now be looking at their squads and thinking, crikey, we're in trouble.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's definitely. And you're right to mention Villa, and you're also right to mention not in trouble of relegation or that, but, to maintain the standards that Unai Emery set in terms of the club, where they're being and where they're moving forward and things like that, that would be a concern, absolutely. It's a funny one, and it's strange. And I'm listening to Olivia there, and I get it as well. I'm even a wee bit bored of the Isak situation, Jeff, and I bet you are too, to a certain degree. And I just think the transfer window, of course, listen, from our point of view, gives us plenty of talking points. I get that, and it gives us hours and hours and hours of chat. But at the same time, if possible, I would, and there was an option, I would have my squad ready and everybody's squad ready for the opening game of the season.
I think one of the other issues is, though, these days, this summer we had the Club World Cup. We also had internationals. We also have a lot of pre-season tours. With so much going on in the summer, there is so little time, to get your ducks in a row, if you like.
Yeah, well, I think, to be fair, Liverpool did well, didn't they?
They did.
Liverpool have been a perfect example of how to do it, really. Regardless of Isak's situation, you look at the player, whether it's Kerkez and, Ekitike and players like that, and Virtson, they went out and got their business done very, very early and very impressively. So who were the best team in the country by a distance last year, if they can go out and do it, then, you can make a case that other teams, other coaches, other managers will be doing the same.
There's a message here actually from Martin in Lim, who tells me that a few years back, the Premier League, it was 2018, 2019, the Premier League experimented with closing the window before the season started so teams wouldn't be unsettled once matches kicked off. Problem was, no other major European leagues followed suit. So while English clubs had to stop buying, clubs in Spain, Italy, France, Germany, etc., could still swoop in and buy their players, putting Premier League teams at a disadvantage, it was pretty much what you were saying, really.
Yeah.
Thank you, Martin. The issue, in some respects, though, is as a fan, the first few weeks of the Premier League, they're like a phony war almost, aren't they? Because, you might get a hint of how strong a side is going to be, but you don't know until after the and after the transfer window is closed 3 games in.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's true. But then that gets back to the next question, Jeff. Why'd you come up with 3? Would you make it 5? Would you just do away with it and let people buy whenever they wanted to? Because I don't know. I suppose there would be an argument saying, it prohibits their freedom to go and express themselves into the transfer market. I know there are the rules and regulations, but why should you only be allowed to buy players at a certain time? That's another argument that some coaches would have, I would imagine, Jeff. But as I say, if they're going to have, it would make sense to me just the start of the season, and you wouldn't be able to buy or sell players.
Yeah, so, and we talk about alignment of the European leagues, and it's a disadvantage. Obviously, we're talking about Premier League clubs principally. A lot of EFL clubs, that's not the case.
No.
But I wonder if there's any reason why Europe shouldn't align with, let's say, a transfer window between the 1st of June and the 31st of July. I can't think of a logical reason.
Oh, it makes sense,
why
wouldn't
not?
it? Well, I'm with you, mate. It would make sense. Just bring everybody in line at the same time. Why would you not? I mean, it would make total sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the other issue would be, if the transfer window was closed before the start of the season, teams with bomb squads, like Manchester United, for example, my word, they would have to get a shuttle on, wouldn't they, to get rid of those players who are in that bomb squad?
Yeah, but does it make that much difference to them? I don't know. I mean, there is I get the train of thought that some clubs wouldn't take players early in the window because it would mean paying them probably for a month when they're not using their services. So I understand that side of it as well, Jeff. But at the same time, if we're complimenting Liverpool and doing their business early in the transfer window, which they have done and done it very, very well, at the same time, transfer business works both ways, and that's getting players out. So you would just be under a little bit more pressure to get players out early as well.
Yeah. But whichever the dates are, to be brutally honest, you get certain clubs in situations. Well, I'll give an example of Crystal Palace. They've lost Eze in the last few days. They might be losing Gahey on deadline day. If you're Oliver Glasner, if you're Steve Parish, what sort of situation does that leave you in with the clock ticking? You must be so tempted to bring in replacements. Purely in terms of numbers, but not, perhaps not the quality that you really want.
Well, they know this. The only thing I would say is, Jeff, they know the situation that they're in. First thing I've got to say, and I know you'll agree with me, what about Gay's finish at the weekend? What about that goal he scored at the weekend? Now, getting back to Palace, it would be a savage blow to them if they lost those 2 players, like 24 hours or 12 hours before the window closed, whatever it may be. But it's still their choice. And I know you and I are in agreement. If an offer come in, ridiculous offer for Gay, they've got to accept it. Last year of the contract, I get that. But it is still their choice because he has got a year of his contract to go. Now, we can argue about the pros or cons of perhaps the mistake or the error of letting the contract go away down to this time limit left. But the choice is still Crystal Palace's at this moment in time because the player is under contract. So they know that situation, and if they know there's a fair chance they're going to get an offer in which they have to accept, then they should have made plans to bring somebody in before now.
Yeah, I get that, and I accept that they should have sorted the contract situation out earlier. But I would argue, Coisty, that if Liverpool are coming along paying £35 to £40 million for Mark Gahey, there is no choice for Palace because it makes no sense at all to say, OK, we'll sacrifice £40 million for one season, one season of Mark Gahey. They cannot possibly go down that line.
No, I'm with you. I totally, it makes absolute sense. The only argument would be, and it won't happen, obviously, the only argument would be against that, Jeff, would be, right, we've got to take this 40 million. However, do we put ourselves under serious pressure here of relegation and then you actually lose the money? See, there would be a wee argument thinking, OK, it's going to cost us 40 million, but he's going to keep us in the division. Now, you and I both know that they'll stay in the division anyway, we would think. But is there that little bit of a gamble that they'd be willing to take with that 40 million?
If you watched them last night, there's no gamble because Palace, they are not going down. They are not go. You know, I mean, they are so well organised, brilliantly coached by Oliver Glasner, and they have some blooming good players as well.
Of course they do.
Coming up, we'll bring you the very latest on the Alexander Isak deal, which, you know, Olivia and Coisty are both bored rigid by, but if you're a Newcastle or a Liverpool fan, you won't be. And also whether Aston Villa fans have anything positive to shout about. Good morning. It is 6:52, September already, Monday the 1st of September. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get £750 off any used car or home charger, electric used car or home charger. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Couple of thoughts on the transfer window. Lawrence says, how about we go the other way with it and have no window at all, which we mentioned, have clubs able to sell and buy players at any time throughout the season, just like they do with managers, which is a fair point, Lawrence. And Alexander has texted and said, transfer windows, it's like the old English drinking hours. It encourages binge buying before the window closes, often with disastrous effects. Scrap the transfer window. Yeah, take your point completely, Alex. So what do we know this Monday morning? Well, we know that Dominic Szoboszlai's brilliant late free kick gave Liverpool victory over Arsenal after a hard-fought meeting at Anfield. 9 points from 3 games. Great start for Arnie Slot's side as well. And, of course, we also know it's transfer deadline day. Will both Mark Gay and Alexander Isak end the day as Liverpool players? Let's get an update from our transfer reporter, Ben Jacobs. Morning, Ben. Busy
Good morning,
day
Ben.
Today.
Busy day, not even had my first coffee yet.
Good Lord, you're slipping up, mate. But then again, I say busy day. It's been a busy transfer window.
Yeah, it has been a record spend amongst Premier League clubs. Don't forget as well, the window shuts at 7 p.m, so a little bit earlier. And what we know from last night at after midnight is Alexander Isak agreed to Liverpool, 125 million fixed, 6-year contract, medical taking place imminently. So that one's going to be a done deal, and it ends one of the most dramatic sagas. Newcastle, remember, started not for sale. Then Isak issued a statement. Newcastle countered and said the conditions for sale have not been met. Now they have. With Mark Gay, it's a little bit more complicated, and it's also intertwined with both Palace finding a replacement and also potentially Joe Gomez going to Milan as well. Mark Gay, valued by Liverpool at £35 million. Crystal Palace want £40 million, even though he's only got 1 year left on his contract. And crucially, even though Gay played and scored yesterday, he has told Crystal Palace he wants the move. And given Palace don't want him to leave on a free transfer, I think there's a realistic chance this one happens.
Well, I said the Coisty there. Realistically, they can't do anything but take the money, can they? Otherwise, you're paying 35 or 40 million pounds for a player to stay for 1 season.
Yeah, I think Palace's perspective is different between Steve Parish and Oliver Glasner, because Glasner's basically saying if we lose him, it could derail our season. It's better to lose him on a free and keep your captain, and maybe he changes his mind during the season, signs a new deal. I think Crystal Palace's hierarchy feel like they have to take the money because Gay's already communicated to them that he will not sign a new deal.
Yeah. Sorry, Ali, what are you going to say?
I was just going to say on that, absolutely. I mean, the one thing you have to say, both Palace players, I think, have handled the situation well. Gay, I would imagine, from what we're looking and listening and watching, is he's kept Palace up to speed with his views. I think he's always wanted to go to Liverpool. I don't think he's hidden that, but he still went about his business correctly. Wonderful goal yesterday. And if I'm... Listen, I don't think there's any surprise, Ben, Jeff. If I'm Oliver Glasner, I'm saying what I'm saying. But if I'm Steve Parish, I think I've got to take the money, to be honest with you.
Completely. A couple of quick ones, Ben. We talked about Newcastle. Saw the pictures from Molineux at the weekend. Strand Larsen has a slight injury, yet he is suited and booted, nowhere near the squad, sitting with his lady in what appeared to be a hospitality lounge. Is he on his way to Newcastle today?
Yeah, I still think this one might be difficult because Wolves are absolutely adamant that there isn't a price that he can be sold for. But whilst the window's open, you could say there's always a price that a player can be sold for. But at the moment, we have no indication that this one is moving. And Newcastle might not even necessarily add a new striker at all now. I think the whole point of doing Isak last night was to say that Nick Voltemada, club record signing, enough to get Isak out the door. I think Strand Larsen's going to be difficult. The same for Yohan Wissa as well. But Newcastle will be alert until the end of the window because they do still want a second attacker.
Yeah. Be interesting with Wissa, won't it, then? Who has made the statement over the weekend saying how much he wants to leave.
Yeah, Yohan Wissa very firm, saying that Brentford have broken promises. He believes he was given a guarantee. Actually, when Ivan Toney left for Al Ahly, that was a year ago, that he could go for £40 million. Brentford sources deny there's any verbal pact. And at the moment, the valuation is 65 million on Johan Wissa for a player that's 28, almost 29, 1 year left on his contract with a club option. But I think the thing that's changed this situation is not Wissa and owner Matthew Benham, but actually Keith Andrews, new manager, coming in with no managerial experience and saying to his board, I want to keep Wissa, and it'd be very difficult for him to leave today.
Yeah. I've got one more for you, if I can, Ben. Nicholas Jackson. Is he in London or is he in Munich today?
Well, believe it or not, he's en route to Senegal, straight off to international duty.
Yeah.
So Bayern Munich have informed Jackson that the move is now off. It was a loan with a buy option. Chelsea naturally were playing Fulham, and then Liam Delap picked up a hamstring injury. We don't know how long he's out for, but at the moment, Chelsea have done two things. Brought back Nico Jackson. It's now going to be difficult for him to go anywhere. The only thing Chelsea will consider on deadline day, if we get a twist, is a permanent exit. No loans, no buy option. And Marc Guiu as well, the young striker that joined from the La Masia Academy at Barcelona. He's been recalled after just 30 days at Sunderland on a loan spell. So Chelsea now have two additional strikers. Jackson move off, Guiu coming back, and that is a reaction to the injury to Delap.
Yeah, Coisty, they've got two additional strikers. They've got two additional unhappy strikers, haven't they?
Yeah, well, it looks that way. I mean, I've got to say, I feel for Jackson, to be brutally honest. He's getting dragged from pillar to post. But listen, Jeff, Ben, Chelsea are doing nothing wrong. Far from it. You can argue they're protecting their club, their staff, their group of players. But I take your point. The fact of the matter is, Jackson in particular, I think, was ready. He'd probably all set to go in that move. A great move for him, incidentally, for the loan period. His nose might be out of joint a little bit. However, Chelsea have got to do what's right for them.
Ben, thank you very much indeed. I've got a feeling we're going to be hearing from you. Well, I know we're going to hear from you right through the course of the morning. Have a good day, mate.
Thank you.
Now, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Download the new improved app to easily manage your accounts and quotes.
So in the next hour of the show, we'll be discussing whether Liverpool proved yesterday they are still favourites for the title, despite many saying Arsenal were ahead of the game, including Alan Brazil, apparently. If Aston Villa fans need to be seriously concerned about the season ahead, we'll discuss that as well. And also, we'll be taking a closer look at the refereeing and VAR input over the weekend. Have they somehow managed to get even worse over the summer? And are Howard Webb's apologies good enough? That was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Get free next day track delivery. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Good morning, it's 6 minutes past 7. It's Monday, September the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. Now, Liverpool delivered an early blow to Arsenal in the title race.
What a goal! Liverpool 1, Arsenal 0. The roof has just been ripped off Anfield. It's an absolute net buster from Szoboszlai.
Arteta choked today. We spent £60 million on a player, put him on the bench. Liverpool were actually there for the taking as well. When it came to it, he just wanted to go defensive.
Yeah, very disappointed with the results. I think we deserved more. But at the end, the margins were so small, you could sense it, you could feel it, that the game was going to decide it, whether with an individual error or with a magic moment, which Szoboszlai delivered for them.
I've been an Arsenal fan like 50-odd years, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking it's time for Arteta to go and take Martinelli with him.
Headed away by Virgil van Dijk. And there is the full-time whistle. It's an early season statement victory from Liverpool.
Yeah, so Mikel Arteta reckoned that Arsenal deserved more from the game. For Liverpool, though, it is 3 wins from 3. Here's their boss, Arne Slot, on Szoboszlai's winner.
A moment of magic that won us the game, not a moment of brilliant football. But a great goal in a game where it was very equal, I think. thought they were the first half they had at the upper hand, if I say it like this, because they pressed better than us. And both teams were really comfortable on the ball, so that's why we adjusted a little bit the second half. I think we pressed much better the second half, which felt to me the second half we had the upper hand in the game. And not only by margins, both teams only by margins. Not a lot of things happened. And then a moment of magic decided the game for us.
Well, it was a moment of magic, wasn't it? That is for sure. I'm urging him not to shoot from there. But then again, as I've proven time again, what do I know? Let's get more reaction to Liverpool's win with the Daily Mail's Merseyside writer, Dom King. Morning, Dom.
Morning, Dom.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali.
Hey, Dom.
It's a pleasure to talk.
Oh, thank you, mate. Look, we're all talking about Szoboszlai's winner, and it was, of course, an absolutely fantastic strike. But his performance in general was exceptional, wasn't it? I mean, is he Liverpool's right back for the foreseeable future?
Do you know what, Jeff? I'm going to make a little comparison here. He played like Steven Gerrard yesterday. He played like in that number. It was the first time I've seen a Steven Gerrard performance from someone wearing a number 8 since Steven Gerrard left. I'm not comparing the two. I'm not saying he's as good as Steven Gerrard or anything like that. But I've seen Steven play right back a few times in terms of running the game. He was absolutely brilliant yesterday. How he slotted into that unfamiliar role and just looked so adept and so comfortable and so at ease. He stuck to. There was a couple of times in the first half where Arsenal were trying to turn him. He stuck to his guns, and then to come up with that free kick. I mean, it was absolutely breathtaking. It's one of the best free kicks I think I've ever seen at Anfield. The quality of the strike of it, and from the distance and the accuracy of it, it was just absolutely magnificent. And you know, I remember the summer that Liverpool signed him 2 years ago from Leipzig, and they'd done an awful lot of deals themselves to try and raise the money, because they had the £60 million that they paid for him had to be paid within a certain time frame. And it was a huge expenditure. I think it was like the £60 million almost had to be done within 12 months, and Liverpool wanted to get it done straight away. And he's been, maybe there's been a little bit of inconsistency at times, but he's looked right back to top form. He was brilliant yesterday, really brilliant.
Dom, I've got to say to you, mate, talking about the goal, Jeff, I never even mentioned it this morning. I'm sitting watching the game on the couch. I come back in, I was at the Old Firm game, which was poor, and then I'm sitting watching the game with a wee man. And he hit the free kick, lads, and the two of us didn't say anything. We just looked at each other, and I had my mouth open, man. What a strike, what a goal. I've got to say to you, Dom, I'm going to ask you a question. I think we're talking about Isak, for example, and potentially Gay as well. I mean, Liverpool, 9 points from 3 games. You know, they scored 4 against Bournemouth, scored 3 against Liverpool. I don't care what anybody says, Isak will definitely strengthen them. There's no hope for anybody else, mate, is there, if they get these two over the line?
Look, I mean, let's just talk about Isak, and I'll tell you what I know. Talks resumed last night. There was a lot of information going around on Saturday that Liverpool and Newcastle were talking. That absolutely wasn't the case. Nothing happened on Saturday. Nothing happened yesterday morning. Talks resumed late last night. It was agreed at 125 million. Liverpool were never going to go as far as 130. Liverpool had been waiting for the green light to go ahead and do the deal, and that's all been agreed now. He'll be on his way down to do a medical. It will get completed at some point today. I'm not so sure about Mark Gay. I know there's still talks going on about that. Look, lots can happen on transfer deadline day, but the information that I've had early this morning is there's still some distance to go on Gay. Isak's the one that's going to get done before anything. But yeah, Liverpool have made an incredible statement this summer. I think they've had the kind of summer that nobody anticipated, but they made a statement yesterday afternoon in terms of that performance, and by that I mean, if I was an Arsenal fan or I was following Arsenal and I saw that team come to Anfield and play the way that they did, I'd be absolutely tearing my hair out, because I didn't understand anything about what they did. And there was a lot of us talking about things last night. You know when Liverpool play Man City in those games, Man City always have you on the edge of the seat in terms of thinking they're 3 passes away from scoring against you on a breakaway. Arsenal never do that to you.
Yeah.
When Arsenal break, it slows down, and the game slows down. You never think Arsenal are going to rip you apart in the way that Man City did. And until Arteta takes the handbrake off them, they're not going to fulfil the potential that they've got. But Liverpool yesterday, I think, once they got through the first half, and it was a bit first half was a bit sticky, didn't play well. It wasn't a great first half. It was more of attrition. But then the second half, there was only one team trying to win it, and it was Liverpool.
Dom, I'm a bit surprised by Gehi, but because Joe Gomez came on yesterday, it looks like he's on his way out. By the way, Gomez, it was excellent. It was excellent in a little cameo when he came on for, 10, 15 minutes. But I just want to mention the team on the other side of Merseyside. Brilliant win. Brilliant win for Everton. But I'm looking at Jack Grealish and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. They've already established this sort of almost telepathic relationship.
Yeah, Jeff, I was at Molineux on Saturday afternoon. I spoke to both Jack and Kiernan after the game. Jack's obviously getting an awful lot of attention, rightly so, because he's come in, and the stat about him doubling his amount of assists in the Premier League he had 2 assists in 2 seasons before he came to Everton. He's had 4 in 3 games, which is a remarkable dramatic impact in his output. But I just want to talk a little bit about Dewsbury-Hall, because his signing sort of went under the radar because Everton were trying to get the Grealish deal done. He is an absolutely terrific addition, and there was something about what he said on the first day to Everton's website about sort of appreciating the size of the club that he's come to. Now, I've spoken to him 2 or 3 times since then. I spoke to him again on Saturday. The sort of pride that he feels about coming for Everton, that he's come to Everton and he feels like he's almost come to the biggest club of his career. The fan base, everything, he feels so proud, and everything's in front of him. And I'm not sure that there's been an awful lot of players who've had that in recent seasons coming to Everton. This is exactly the type of deal that Everton needed to do. He's a quality footballer. I know from speaking to Brendan Rodgers about him a couple of years ago that he is a player with great talent. Brendan loved him, and you can see straight away what he's had. He was excellent on Saturday, and Everton look really good. Everton are going to have a good season this year. Lots of progress. I think David's trying to get one deal done today, possibly for a centre-half, somebody that can fill on the left. He would like to do 2, but I think one's more realistic. And, it's been a really encouraging start.
Brilliant. Dom, thank you very much indeed.
Hey, Dom.
No problem at all. Speak to you soon.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul just texted, by the way, said, morning, chaps. Thought Arsenal deserved a draw, but fair play, great free kick. Can we just talk about losing Saliba and how well the new kid did?
Didn't he?
Yeah, what's Christian Mosquera, isn't he? He really did do very well indeed. Didn't really miss Saliba in that sense because his replacement did so well. Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to Aston Villa and ask just how bad this season might get for them.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans that's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about trophies. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Good morning, 21 minutes past 7, Monday, September the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Griff in Kings Lynn's texted. He says, "Hi lads, leave West Ham to last. Usually first when we lose, just saying." Okay, Griff, we'll leave them to last in that case. It was a brilliant win. We will talk about them.
Wasn't it half, wasn't it?
I promise you, Griff, it really, really was. And the substitutions, I mean, Graham Potter takes some stick, but what great substitutions they were, and they both, you know, Somerville and Callum Wilson really influenced the game. A couple of comments on transfer windows. We were talking a moment or two ago about whether Mark Gay would end up at Liverpool. Tony says if Joe Gomez is going to AC Milan, then Mark Gay is definitely joining Liverpool. No way would he leave otherwise. I think I agree with you completely there, Tony.
Yeah.
And Dean says if Everton can get Ake in today, they would have had an excellent window. Of course, it is transfer deadline day. 7 o'clock this evening it closes. Alexander Isak set to complete his move today. We've heard that. But what's going on elsewhere? Let's start at Aston Villa. Let's get an update from our transfer reporter, Ben Jacobs. Look, Ben, obviously, we've talked a bit about Emi Martinez already. Villa can't just have people going out of that exit door.
Yeah, I mean, Villa have had a very interesting summer because in the first part they needed to sell their women's teams, their parent company, to balance the books. Second half of the window, they've been able to get moving a little bit, but still very conscious of the overall finances at the club. So outgoing-wise, Emi Martinez is the one to watch. Manchester United have got 2 goalkeeper possibilities in these final hours. One is the experienced number 1 in Emi Martinez. Villa have been asking for £35 million throughout the window. Let's see if that price drops throughout the day. And Emi Martinez wants the move, and that's why he was left out of the squad at the weekend. But it's not yet a guarantee, because United also want Sene Lammens at Royal Antwerp, a younger goalkeeper. And actually intertwined into this interesting story is Villa, like Lammens as well. So if Martinez goes, you could have Lammens to Aston Villa. Alternatively, Diogo Costa is the other name on the short list. So it could be a case of a goalkeeper out and then a goalkeeper in at Aston Villa. And we still need to be alert as well to a left-sided attacker in particular, with some suggestion that if Jadon Sancho doesn't get his move to Roma, Villa might become a late window possibility.
Should Villa fans be concerned about the comparative, and we know the reasons, about the comparative lack of incomings at Villa Park?
Yeah, I think to an extent it's been a tough summer for them financially. It's probably the same for West Ham, and in addition to that, Fulham as well. They've all had relatively underwhelming windows. West Ham have got going a little bit. Fulham haven't yet. Keep an eye on Kevin today, the winger from Shakhtar. That could be a deal to watch as well.
Great name, isn't it?
Yeah, just Kevin. That's
just Kevin.
And you know, when they've only got one name, they're always good footballers as well. But I think coming back to Villa, the silver lining is Evan Gassard has come in, very versatile and highly rated attacker. And then they've still kept hold of most of their stars. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Emi Martinez. But Amadou Onana and Yuri Tielemans have both had Saudi interest. They're still there. And Ollie Watkins, let's not forget, before Benjamin Sesko, was subject of an approach from Manchester United and was on Newcastle's list as well. But the expectation is that he's going to stay too.
Yeah, I mean, they were linked with Paqueta as well, but that pretty clearly it's not going to happen, isn't it? So.
Yeah, yesterday Lucas Paqueta scored a penalty and then he made a phone signal, and then he threw that phone away and then he kissed the West Ham badge.
Yeah, and nodded his head furiously. I mean, it was the clearest message you could ever give. Man, you funny things happen in football, don't they? Not that. Ben, thank you very much indeed. We'll talk to you again in a few minutes' time. We're going to stick with Villa, though, because joining us now is broadcaster and Villa fan Dan Bardell. Morning to you, Dan.
Good morning, Dan.
Morning, lad. You okay?
Yeah.
Very
good,
well.
Good. Look, before we talk about, incomings and outgoings, how concerned have you been about Villa's form so far this season?
Very. I think last night probably the tip of the iceberg, the fourth consecutive game following on from last season where they haven't scored. And to be honest, I haven't got excited about scoring a goal in any of our 3 games this season. We look so toothless at the moment, so devoid of ideas, and this is just the complete opposite of what I'm used to seeing from my team under this manager, because he's been brilliant and the team's been brilliant ever since he walked through the door. So, yeah, with everything that's going on at the club at the moment, on and off the pitch, it's pretty concerning, if I'm honest.
Dan, I was going to say to you something that hit home to myself when I was looking at it was the fact, I think it was when Jacob Ramsey, I think, might have gone to Newcastle. You're actually getting a 3 or 4 of your own players, I think it was Tyrone Mings and John McGinn, understandably, and maybe and it's their job to, and sometimes you look for things that aren't there, but reading some of their messages, whether it's on social media, you can tell that they were a little bit disappointed as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, look, the dressing room is definitely not a happy place at the moment. I think you can see that. I think it's one of those instances where stuff that's happened off the pitch has transmitted up to on the pitch, and it's bled into performances. And Jacob Ramsey, I think he's a victim of these rules that are absolutely killing Villa at the moment. The Villa have got themselves to a certain level, and then to stay there, you need to spend money. But because they've spent money already, and because they haven't got the revenue that the other teams have got, these rules just aren't built to help teams like Villa. So we're stuck. So we're trying to shift players. We're trying to move things around. And what it's left us with now is we've got to the end of the window. One of our big players, big leaders, looks like he wants to go. You have to try and replace him today. But the rest of it looks like you're kind of scraping around at the bottom of the barrel, trying to bring players in, because that's the market that we're being forced to shop in. The owners want to spend money. The club wants to spend money. They want to back this manager who's done a fantastic job. But at the moment, like I say, we're going for players who, at the start of this window, I wouldn't have dreamed we were scrambling around for Lindelof and Sancho. And they might come in and be good players for Villa. If they do come in, I'd never get on someone's back before they've played a game for the club. But it's all looking a bit scattergun and it's all looking a bit desperate at the moment.
I mean, obviously, they've got to get bodies in. If you looked at the game against Palace, they brought on Emi Buendia at half-time. He was surplus to requirements last season. And on the bench, they had a 17-year-old, 3 18-year-olds, a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old. Danny, you were all concerned that if things don't improve at Villa, that Unai Emery might think, I've had enough of this?
I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, and no one loves Unai Emery more than me. The job he's done has been absolutely brilliant. The Villa fans don't like it when I say it, but I would have been coming on talkSPORT a year ago saying our clubs can't take Unai Emery. There's no way he'd leave Villa. He's got everything he's ever wanted. We're in the Champions League. Things are going great. A year on, I do feel like it's unravelled pretty fast, and I don't sit here comfortable today thinking, will he be here this time next year? That's just me being perfectly honest, because I think if a club came in that is allowed to spend money and is allowed to build a squad, why wouldn't he look at it at the moment? You can see he's not the same. He's frustrated. A really, really touchy interview before the game yesterday. He wants players, but the club can't go and get players because of these rules. But players, like you said, are going on social media, not happy with things that have happened. He's not going to be happy with things that have happened. And I think he'll look at it and know it's not the club's fault. But if someone who can come and spend money and can compete at the highest level, which is where he wants to be because he is a Champions League quality manager, I don't know at the moment why he wouldn't look at it, because we're in a bit of a sticky situation.
No, he's a top-notch manager, Dan, no question about that. Dan, thank you very much indeed, mate.
Thanks, Dan.
Cheers, lads.
broadcaster and Villa fan Dan Bardell there. Craig's texted, he said, "Morning, guys. Just wanted to shout out to Falkirk, who won their first Scottish Premiership game in 15 years, beating Aberdeen. A real boost after signing Ethan Williams on loan from Manchester United." Craig describes himself as a happy Falkirk fan. Let's hope it's the first of many for your point of view, Craig.
Some result, that.
Yeah.
That was some result, Jeff, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Brilliant. I want to talk to you later, Coisty, when we talked a bit more. Well, we're going to talk with Charlie Mulgrew very shortly. But I want to talk to you about whether there's a possibility that this season in Scotland, it won't be a one-horse or a two-horse race, but maybe somebody else could get involved. A bit later on. Sure. Up next, despite a win against Burnley, is the pressure firmly still on Ruben Amorim? We'll discuss that.
For every good signing a club makes, there's bound to be a few that don't work out. Manchester United have certainly had their fair share of those, especially since the end of their golden age under Sir Alex Ferguson. Here are some of the Red Devils' worst signings since Fergie. First up, Alexis Sanchez. He'd averaged almost a goal every 2 games for Arsenal, but in his 45 matches for United, he only bagged 5. Next up, Radamel Falcao, dubbed El Tigre, or the Tiger. But at Old Trafford, he was a little more pussycat, to be honest. All the Colombian managed in 29 games was 4 goals. Moving on, things couldn't have gone worse for Jadon Sancho at United, with just 12 goals in 83 games. And it all ended after that very public spat with then-manager Erik ten Hag. Next, Ten Hag probably thought he was wise in sticking to what he knew when he brought in Antony from former club Ajax. But the £86 million Brazilian has really not been able to hack it in the Prem. The curse of the famous number 7 shirt has also had its share of victims. As well as the aforementioned Sanchez, Memphis Depay found he couldn't follow in the footsteps of Ronaldo, Cantona, Beckham and Best. He netted just 7 in 53 appearances. And those are just a few examples. To be honest, the list could go on and on. Unfortunately, that's probably why Man United haven't won the title for over a decade, and why it might take a few more years before they're in contention again.
Good morning, 7:35, Monday, September the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast Time. Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with us live in Glasgow. I've got a text here, Coisty, which will appeal to you. It's anonymous, but it says, morning, chaps. Could you give a mention to East Kilbride's fantastic start to their first season in the Scottish Second Division? 4-0 on Saturday, top of the league.
By the way, Jeff, what a start. I think it was 5-0, by the way. I might get that wrong. I think the centre forward Elliott got 4. He certainly got a first half hat-trick. But what a start of the campaign it is. The boys are absolutely delighted. We need to get you up for a game. I'll tell you what we'll do, you, Jeff. Before the season's out, I'll get to Hartlepool game and you're coming to an East Kilbride game. How's that sound?
It sounds great, but unfortunately they wouldn't let me into a Hartlepool game.
Okay, we'll go to 2 East Kilbride games then.
Yeah. Have people been surprised by East Kilbride or not? Because, you know, teams do make the step up, don't they, quite successfully?
Yeah. I went to the opening game. I think it was against Spartans, and they were beat I thought they were well beaten. But to be fair to them, you know better than them, particularly at that kind of level, Jeff, if you get 3 or 4 injuries, key injuries to players, you're really, really going to struggle. And East Kilbride that day, I think, had 3 or 4 players out. They've got their centre forward back, and I think they've won 3 in a row. They won up at Elgin. I'm trying to think, they've won a couple of games at home as well, and that was a great result on Saturday. Yeah. So the results since the start of the season, I would say, have very, very pleasantly surprised me.
Yeah. Well, let's stay with action in Scotland and take a look back. This shouldn't take too long. With this weekend's thrilling action in the Old Firm clash.
I'm blown. Walk on. You're simply the best.
A little bit harsh, perhaps? Well, actually, I'm not sure it was, really. Joining the show now, 5-time SPL winner with Celtic. It's a very good morning to Charlie Mulgrew. Morning, Charlie.
Morning, Charlie boy.
Morning, Ali. Morning, Jeff.
Yeah, we're okay, mate. Look, that has to have been one of the lowest quality Old Firm clashes ever, doesn't it?
I've not seen it. I don't know.
Oh, right. Lucky boy.
I'm only
Charlie, I'm going to tell you something, mate. I went to the game, right, and I'm thinking to myself, after the performances and the results of both teams in midweek, you know, I knew there'd be a certain amount of pressure on both managers not to lose. But I'm sitting watching the second half, Charlie, and that's exactly how it looked. It just looked to me as though both teams didn't want to lose.
Yeah, I've never seen a Celtic Rangers game played so much in the centre of the pitch. There was nothing in both boxes. It was mad to watch. It seemed to be, for me, it just felt like Celtic just kept coming back to Kasper Schmeichel, and then Rangers would press up on them. They would just kick it. Nothing would happen. Then Rangers would start again. It was a weird game to watch, but I was the same as you, Ali. I was really interested to see how Rangers would respond, and I thought, to be fair to them, the first 15 minutes, they got the ball forward, and they made Celtic defend. They put long throws in the box, and they kind of, I think a lot of this year they've caused their own problems by playing short passes, which is all right, but they keep getting broke on and losing goals. And I thought they took that out of the game. They took Celtic's game right out of the press, their press right out of the game, and just played it forward. And I thought, to be fair to Celtic, like they've done all season, they've still not conceded a goal this season. And I thought Scales were brilliant, defended really well in that early part, crosses in the box, corners, long throws. And yeah, Rangers in large part sort of stepped up to the challenge and kind of got together as a team, as a unit. And yeah, they've took a lot of stick. Russell Barton, I mean, if he doesn't know what it is to be a Rangers manager, I think this week's definitely shown him that it must have been a rough week. I mean, although he'll stay away from a lot of the noise, he'll feel it, and you can't really escape it in this city, you know. So, no, I think he responded well, and the team showed a good bit of fight and looked like they're up for the challenge to roll their sleeves up. Because I think this year they've been accused a lot of not wanting to roll their sleeves up.
I mean, look, it's been a terrible week for Scottish football, hasn't it? With both of them crashing out of the Champions League and then that 0-0 at the weekend. Can you see things improving at all, Charlie?
Yeah, well, listen, both teams want to be in the Champions League. That's disappointing. That's not going to go away. But they need to pick themselves up. That's a game now. Straight away up here, you're only one game away from everything kind of turning around and looking a bit better. There's a chance for both teams to go and win a game and get the fans right back on side again, especially the Rangers side of the city. But listen, they need to get up. The Europa League's draw's done now. There's some good games in there. They need to look forward to that and push forward. Both teams, it's a weird season so far. Celtic have scored 6 goals in the league, and I know there's only 4 games played, but Motherwell have scored the same amount. Dundee United have scored the same amount. Hearts have scored 10, so Celtic are scoring and Rangers can't defend apart from the weekend there, and you go and get a 0-0. So it's been a bit of a weird season so far, but both teams need to move forward and try and get that, do well domestically and have a wee run in Europe.
Charlie, I was going to ask you that exact question, mate. Obviously, Rangers bringing in Miovski, you would think would help. Man, looks Dessers away, Egerman's away. But I want to ask you about Celtic in forward areas, mate. Clearly, a big disappointment. No scoring against the Kazakhstan team in the best part of 210 minutes. And I'm looking at them. I'm looking at them yesterday, mate. And you know, Rangers, as we know, have certainly got problems. But I'm looking at Celtic in forward areas. And I'm thinking to myself, what have they got, mate?
Yeah,
I mean,
they don't look
as though an out-and-out centre forward. No, they've got no real threat in the centre forward area, mate. That's got to change, surely, hasn't it?
You'd imagine so. I mean, Balakwisha comes in the other day. I know it's his Old Firm debut and he's just starting, but he looks like he's a bit of time to get going. But Nygren playing the right wing for me was just he's just never a winger. He's no quick. He just keeps coming inside. I've played in the wing myself before, believe it or not. And you just need, because you know you've not got that pace on the outside, you need to keep coming inside, and all of a sudden you've got no width. And Celtic naturally, over the last 10, 15 years, have had quick wingers. You go back to Rodgers' first time here, then Ange Postecoglou, now Rodgers is back. And there's always been quick wingers, a big emphasis on teams blocking the inside and Celtic getting the ball wide and attacking for wide areas. But Nygren just kept coming inside. Yeah, there's a real lack of creativity and edge in the final third. And I think Rodgers said that after he's felt it all season, you can see it with only 6 goals scored in the league. So it's something they need to address quickly, because there's going to be so many teams that come to Celtic Park and they go away from home to places like St Mirren, and teams will sit in and make it difficult, and you need to have that goal threat. So I'd imagine there's got to be another striker coming in today. Obviously, was it last night? The window shut yet?
7 o'clock tonight.
Yeah. 7 o'clock, mate.
Oh right, okay. So they need to get moving. It's I think Rodgers will be. He needs to focus on what the players are there and wonder how he can get the best out. What is going to be in the building? And when the window shuts, everybody knows they're there. I think it'll be good for both teams. But definitely the final third alley's been where everybody's been wanting players in, and Celtic have kind of lacked that cutting edge, and that's why they're at the Champions League. They never created anywhere near enough over the 210 minutes or whatever it was.
Charlie, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Charlie. All the best, mate.
Ali.
Yes, mate.
I need to get you on my YouTube channel. We'll go pitch to par the golf.
I've been watching it, pal. I've been watching it. Ready when you are, mate. I'll get the old clubs in for the log. I'll get the old clubs in for the log, mate.
You get to the top of the leaderboard.
That'll do for me, pal.
Thank you. Have a good day, lads.
Thanks very much, Charlie. Thanks. Just a very quick text. This is a good text as well from James, who says, "Morning, gents. As a Palace fan, I want to pivot away from all the transfer talk and say how classy James Milner was yesterday. His interview and his dedication to his former Liverpool teammate Jota deserves another mention. The football community is strong. I'm proud that whoever you are and wherever you're from, we pull together in dark times." Well said, James. Milner, he is an absolute class act. And I'm not just talking about on the football pitch either. Right, big thanks to 5 times SPL winner Charlie Mulgrew there. Still to come on Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Doing what matters for the trade. Find your local branch at travisperkins.co.uk.
Arsenal and Liverpool fans, we want to hear from you. The Mail's Merseyside reporter Dom King said he'd be ripping his hair out if he was an Arsenal fan with your lack of intent to win the game at Anfield. 0717 223344 is the number to call. We want you to have your say on that matter. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Bricks on bricks on bricks. Over 40 million available to order with delivery to site. That's one less thing to worry about.
Good morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Paul has texted in, said, morning, gentlemen. I think Arteta is a little like a parent not quite trusting his child at the moment. He's failed to see how much they've grown. Set them free, Mikel. He's not the only one to say that, because Manchester United legend Peter Schmeichel hammered them yesterday, really. He said, I've never in my life ever wanted a team to win a game of football more than Liverpool. Arsenal bring an ugly brand of football to our game. Mikel, let your team play football, let them loose. Let them be free. Was there much difference in the way between Arsenal and Liverpool yesterday, Coisty?
I didn't think so, Jeff. I thought it was two excellent teams not playing anywhere near their potential, to be honest with you. And you can actually argue that's been Liverpool so far this season. Do you know what I mean, Jeff? Great results, obviously, up at Newcastle in particular, but they've not really started firing. Arsenal probably the same, excellent victory against Leeds, but in their 1-0, there was even people, one or two Arsenal fans not too happy with the way they played, with the great result they had at Old Trafford. So I can understand the stick, but I just think it was two two excellent teams playing nowhere near their potential.
David Bister's just said, Mikel Arteta, I love what you've done at Arsenal. Please, please, please release the handbrake and let the boys play. OK, transfer deadline day, 7 o'clock in England. I think it's a bit later in Scotland. It might be 11 this evening. Let's get an update from our transfer reporter, Ben Jacobs. Let's start with Manchester City, shall we, Ben? What's happening there?
Yeah, a fascinating story with two goalkeepers. So Ederson wants to join Fenerbahce, and there is club-to-club agreement now for about £11 million or €14 million, but that will not be a move that's sanctioned unless Gigi Donnarumma, PSG's Champions League winning goalkeeper from last season, goes to Manchester City. So City have basically said to Fenerbahce, get the deal ready, and they're now this morning in negotiations with PSG. Donnarumma is out of favour at PSG despite an excellent season last campaign because Lucas Chevalier has come in. He saved 2 penalties at the weekend. Donnarumma's only got 1 year left on his PSG contract, and yet earlier in the window, PSG were asking for €50 million. My understanding is this morning that price has dropped to south of €35 million. So club-to-club talks ongoing, and there is a likelihood, I think, today that Donnarumma goes to City and Ederson moves to Fenerbahce.
Interesting. And what about across the road at United? What's happening there?
Yeah, again, goalkeepers, that's the topic of conversation. So Emi Martinez and Sene Lammens are the two candidates. Do they go young or experienced? Emi Martinez wants the Manchester United move. And then Andre Onana is going to be a fascinating story today as well. He's technically somebody that Manchester United, even if they had a number one, would like to keep. And he'll be off to the Africa Cup of Nations. So it would actually help Manchester United, especially if Sene Lammens comes in, to have Lammens, Bayindir and Onana, knowing that they'll lose Onana mid-season. But if Emi Martinez is the one to arrive, Galatasaray are considering a bid for Onana, and we wait and see whether that's a move that either Manchester United sanction or alternatively whether Onana is prepared to leave Manchester United on deadline day, which was not our understanding. We thought in the build-up to deadline day that any new goalkeeper would not be linked to Onana's future, but there is now a question mark.
Ben, just quickly, Alex Crook has been telling us that he understands Mark Gahey is now more likely to stay at Palace.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. Chief football correspondent Alex Crook with us, of course, throughout the day. And Mark Gahey, who Liverpool have been in talks with for a fee of around £35 million, now, even though he's told Liverpool he wants to join, has been informed by Crystal Palace that they are still considering whether to sanction that exit, because overnight Oliver Glasner, who said it publicly post-match, has doubled down and gone to Steve Parish and said we should not sell for any price. It's better we keep him and lose him on a free transfer in a year's time. So that deal is now in doubt.
Well, it's easy for him to say. It's not his money, is it? For goodness sake.
One of them, listen, guys, one of them's a football manager, football coach, and the other one's a businessman as well. So interesting to see how that goes.
Exactly. Ben, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Right, now it is time for this.
You're unbelievable.
It's a shocking decision. Unbelievable, Jeff. Unbelievable, Jeff.
They're trying to re-referee the game. That's not what it's there for.
Jeff, you will not believe this.
Keep your flag down.
I told you. No way. I told you. VAR, go away. Dave Bassett will not believe this. It's a goal. It's a goal. The crowd cannot believe it. What? Oh, miles over the line. Boo!
That's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
That isn't a penalty. I'm absolutely astounded.
You're unbelievable, Jeff.
And Olivia's back with us.
Yes, I am. And we are going to be talking about the decisions that happened in the Chelsea-Fulham game on the weekend. So, I suppose, should we start with the Josh King incident, which, by the way, I'm just going to start by saying I obviously don't think it's enough to overturn the goal, right? I don't think it is. However, people calling it the worst VAR decision we've ever seen is outrageous. It's not even the worst decision this season.
Well, it's only because there's been so many awful VAR decisions.
Yeah, but right. So people calling it the worst ever. One, Luis Diaz had a perfectly good goal ruled out, so that's definitely the worst. But even two, this season, Marco Senesi's handball. If Liverpool don't go on to win that game, right, we're talking about
But we shouldn't be comparing, bad with worse. We should just be saying, this is a goddamn awful decision. The VAR should keep his nose out of it when he's not required. And the referee, Rob Jones, should have the bottle when he goes to the monitor and saying, VAR, keep your nose out of it. You're wrong. I'm right. It's a goal. It was rubbish.
So this is what I can't understand, Jeff.
Listen, Olivia, I'm with Jeff on this one. Because if we're going to start a conversation right now, what's the worst VAR decision? We're going to be here to the close of the window.
Yeah, we are. No, what I also don't understand is why Michael Salisbury was taken off VAR for the Liverpool Arsenal game.
Because he showed he wasn't very good the day before.
Yeah, but why hasn't Rob Jones then? Because at the end of the day, obviously, you can say to Michael Salisbury, you shouldn't have advised him to go to the screen, which is fair enough. But at the end of the day, Jeff, it's Rob Jones's decision to overturn that goal. So why have one of them been punished and the other one not?
I don't know. Maybe Rob Jones is bigger than Michael Salisbury. That's the way it looks, isn't it? I mean,
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a great. And I think it was probably the perfect example of why VAR, or the perfect incident to show that they didn't need to get involved in that. However, obviously, there's another big talking point in that game as well, which was obviously the penalty and the build-up to the awarding of that penalty. Now, I don't think it was a foul. I don't think it was a push from João Pedro. I don't think it was handball from João Pedro. And I also don't think it was a foul on Alex Iwobi either. But I'm interested to see what you guys think.
I think it's a foul.
You think it's a foul? What, for the push? For the push?
Definitely.
Not the handball. Not the handball.
Not the handball. Definitely a foul for the push.
Just giving him a little nudge, is that enough to then rule out a penalty?
Well, I'll tell you why I think it's a foul. I'll tell you why I think it's a foul. The answer is this. Would Anderson have had a clear header clearance in terms of getting rid of the ball if Pedro hadn't, inverted commas, fouled him? Now, we can say it was a slight shove, it was a light shove, you can call it what you like, but he's impeded Anderson, in my opinion, making a clear header. Now, I heard Scott Minto, and Scott, whose opinion I value, and he knows the game as well as anybody, he said Anderson should have been more physical, and I take that point. However, the fact of the matter is, whether Anderson should have been more physical or not, I'm of the opinion Pedro fouled him.
What about you, Jeff? I mean, I thought
it was a penalty. I mean, I'll be honest, I thought it was a penalty. I thought they got that. I thought they got that right. Can I just ask a question about another game, just briefly, Coisty?
Yep.
And I'm only asking the question, okay, before you Manchester United fans start to text in. Jadon Anthony tugging back Ahmad in the 95th minute at Old Trafford. And it's a foul. It's a foul. Would the VAR have got involved if it was a Burnley player being fouled on the edge of the Manchester United penalty area at that stage?
Yes. You'd hope so. The answer is we don't know, but you'd hope so. I mean, if we start going down the line of it's a rule for one and rule for others, then we've got a serious problem, Jeff. We've got a serious problem. The fact of the matter is...
Don't you think referees and VAR officials are sometimes influenced by the crowd around them?
Well, that's natural, yeah. That's natural, yeah. But I can understand maybe officials being slightly influenced because that's the nature, it's human nature. But if I'm sitting watching the game and I'm making a decision 200 miles away, surely you're not getting influenced by the crowd, are you?
Probably not, mate. Probably not. Just last word, by the way. I just want to say, Anthony Taylor at Sunderland. Thank goodness somebody is giving penalties for holding and grappling, which was excellent from Taylor. The only problem was he gave two and he missed the most obvious one.
Yeah. And also, how long is it going to last as well? I think that's the question.
Well, hopefully the impact on this will be that players don't hold as much, don't grapple as much as well. And I'm sure, Brentford players next week, they've got to have in the back of their minds, we can't do that. We're going to get penalties given against us.
I think we've got to be careful as well, because I think the one in the Man United Fulham game last weekend at Craven Cottage, they gave a penalty because one of the Man United players was being wrestled to the floor, but right next to it, one of the Fulham players was being wrestled to the floor. So you've got to keep an eye out on it, because if they're both doing it, how can you give a penalty? To one side?
I've got a great text here, by the way. The last word on this. No, it's fine. The last word. It's anonymous. It says, guys, the worst VAR decision ever is bringing VAR into the game. Thank you very much indeed, whoever said that. And thanks to the number one Chelsea fan, Olivia Bazaglo, for her completely unbiased view of what was going on at Stamford Bridge. You've got it's fine.
What goes around comes around, Jeff. We'll have VAR decisions given against us. We were a little bit fortunate, I'll take it.
Got to stand up for your team. You're absolutely right
We've got
to do so. And Olivia will be back with early breakfast from 5 a.m. tomorrow morning with more Chelsea propaganda. Up next, Arsenal fans, we want to hear from you. Liverpool fans too, 03717223344. Gary Neville said Mikel Arteta doesn't have the mentality to win big games away from home. Is that fair? We'll discuss that next.
Wondered why Erling Haaland scores a hat-trick instead of just 3 goals? Why Darwin Núñez is said to have missed a sitter rather than just missing a really easy shot? Or why on earth defenders are said to park the bus? Let's break down some of our favourite football cliches. First, let's talk hat-tricks. The term comes from cricket back in the 1800s. Any bowler who managed to get 3 successive wickets used to be rewarded with a hat from their club. Next up, if you see a skillful tackle, an athletic save or a 40-yard screamer, you might say these things are out the top drawer. That's because back in Victorian times, if you had wealth, valuable stuff, you kept it in the top drawer of your dresser, so loaded families became known as top drawer. Remember the last time your team left you feeling as sick as a parrot? The image of the sick bird is thought to come from a classic British comedy moment, Monty Python's Dead Parrot sketch, but the phrase was first used in football by Liverpool defender Phil Thompson. He supposedly said it after Liverpool lost to Nottingham Forest in the 1978 League Cup final. Forest won thanks to a controversial penalty given away by a Thompson foul, even though it was actually outside the box. Poor guy said he felt sick as a parrot afterwards. Is there anything more embarrassing than a nutmeg in football? Weird name, but it's actually related to the trading of nutmeg, the spice. It was so expensive back in the day that corrupt exporters used to try and mix in a bit of wood in with the nutmeg to cut their costs. The term soon became slang. If you were nutmegged, it was because the person you were buying off had pulled a fast one on you. Jose Mourinho brought a lot of things to English football, and seems like one of those was the phrase "park the bus." He used it after his Chelsea side had been held to a goalless draw by Spurs in 2004. Tottenham had been extremely defensive, not trying to score, but making sure Chelsea couldn't either. Mourinho actually said, "They brought the bus and left the bus in front of the goal, as we say in my country." Finally, another phrase that actually comes from cricket. Footballers are said to have missed a sitter if they miss an easy chance. In the late 19th century, it was used in cricket to describe a moment when a fielder failed to take a catch which was so easy they should have been able to catch it sitting down. So there you have it, some of your favourite footballing cliches. And if you think this video is all over, well, it is now.
Good morning, 7 minutes past 8, Monday, September the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. On the way for you this morning, it is, of course, transfer deadline day. Alexander Isak's move to Liverpool almost complete. 0371722 3344. Newcastle fans, are you finally happy to see the back of a player who's treated your club seemingly so badly? We were hoping to speak to Gabby Agbonlahor today as well, but he's refused to come on, saying he's grieving the loss to Crystal Palace. Could be grieving a bit more during the course of this season, the way things are looking at Villa so far, though. I do have a bit of faith that Unai Emery can turn it around. Let's start this hour, though, with events on the field at Anfield yesterday. Dominic Szoboszlai, take a bow.
It's not sound right now because they've just conceded an absolute world-class free kick from Dominic Szoboszlai. Alex Crook. What a goal! Liverpool 1, Arsenal 0. The roof has just been ripped off Anfield. It's an absolute net buster from Szoboszlai from fully 25 yards out. He smashed it right-footed beyond David Raya into the top right-hand corner. It's a moment of quality, out of keeping with the rest of this football match. A big puff of the cheeks from Raya. He can't quite believe it.
Well, it was an absolutely astonishing goal, wasn't it? So Arsenal remain winless at Anfield since 2012. But Mikel Arteta does think they deserved more yesterday.
Yeah, very disappointed with the results. I think we deserve more. I think we elevated the level to make it very difficult for Liverpool. I think they did the same. But at the end, the margins were so small, you could sense it, you could feel it, that the game was going to decide it, whether with an individual error, which it didn't happen, or with a magic moment, which Szoboszlai delivered for them. And that's what you need to win these games. Something special has to happen that is not in the book to win here. But the way the team played, the way the team competed, I think it was really, really positive and a lot to take from.
Yeah, Liam's texted say, morning, I didn't think Arsenal were that bad. I just thought that Liverpool defended well at last. Arsenal had more chance, more shots than us. And the truth is, there was nothing apart from that wonderful free kick. There was nothing to pick between the two sides, was there? Yeah. Anyway, that's my opinion. Let's get the view of Craig, who's an Arsenal fan. Morning, Craig.
Good morning, Craig.
Morning, how are you?
Yeah, good,
well,
thanks, Craig.
You.
Yeah. So what did you make of the performance? What do you make of the criticism that Arsenal are getting now?
Well, to be fair, I wouldn't have played Marino yesterday. Not when you've got somebody like Eze on the bench. Yeah, I know he'd only been there a week, but he's a game changer. And you've spent best part of 70 million on him, and he's just sat on the bench for 70 minutes. I'm really disappointed in Arteta with the way that he went about the game yesterday. He gave them too much respect.
What, in the way they set up with effectively 3 holding midfield players?
Yeah. I would have had Rice, Zubimendi and Eze. Yeah. And then Gyökeres up front. I mean, Gyökeres didn't do a lot in the game, and I've had concerns about him ever since we bought him, because no disrespect to him, he scored a hatful of goals in Portugal, but it's a different story when you come into the Premier League.
Yeah, I think it's probably... I'm with you, Craig. I've got to say, I was a little bit perhaps disappointed in his performance, but I just thought it was two very, very good teams, as I said to Jeff, playing nowhere near their potential. And I'm looking at Gyökeres, and I thought to myself, Konate hasn't really started the season as well as probably they wanted to, but I thought he was very comfortable marking Gyökeres yesterday, mate.
Massively. Yeah. And it doesn't help when you're carrying people like Martinelli as well. I've been a massive fan of Martinelli, but within the first 10 minutes, I think it was, he had one-on-one with Szoboszlai, and he decided to pass it rather than try and take him on down the line.
Craig, thanks very much indeed.
Cheers, mate.
Now, the Merseyside reporter for the Daily Mail, Dom King, joined the show earlier on and gave us his thoughts on Arteta's approach to the game.
If I was an Arsenal fan, or I was following Arsenal, and I saw that team come to Anfield and play the way that they did, I'd be absolutely tearing my hair out, because I didn't understand anything about what they did.
Clive is an Arsenal fan. What does he make of it all? Morning, Clive.
Morning, Clive.
Morning, guys. How are you doing, right?
Yeah, good.
Very well, thank you. What did you think yesterday, mate?
I think you've got to look at it. Liverpool would normally charge out the blocks and try and blow teams away. So they didn't do that yesterday, because Arsenal played a good game and Liverpool were cagey. It was a game of chess, which I think Arteta set out to nullify any opportunity Liverpool would get, and we did that for the whole of the first half. And I think he was going to bring the subs on, he was going to bring Eze on, Odegaard on, and go for the win. But unfortunately, you get some muppet who scores a worldie that he'd never do in a million years again.
Yeah,
which changed the game for us. Unfortunately, I mean, the first guy that came on, I think he's got a good point about Martinelli. I think he's lost a bit of pace, and that has sort of killed his game. Really, he can't go past people like he used to, and he's always got his head down. We do need to do something different on that left. Maybe there's
Clive, would you have started Eze, mate, instead of Mourinho?
Initially, I would have preferred to start Eze, but I think Arteta went in with the game plan to make sure he didn't go pear-shaped with Liverpool coming out of the traps like they tried to.
Yeah.
And if you look at that game, Liverpool didn't have a kick in the first half, and not many teams go to Anfield and do that, do they?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Arsenal would, no question, the better side in the first half. And for Mikel Arteta, maybe he did start Eze. Maybe he starts Eze and they lose 2 or 3-0, and then he'll be getting an awful lot of flack, won't he? So
he would do,
yeah. Clive, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Just before we move on, I got a text from Mark, and I have to read it out. He said, Jeff, can't believe Middlesbrough haven't had a mention this morning. 4 games, 4 wins, only team in the Championship with a 100% record. New manager, lots of ins and outs. Rob Edwards is doing a fantastic job. Mark, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
He's done an absolutely brilliant job. Big win over Sheffield United. By contrast, Sheffield United, Ruben Selles, played 5, lost 5 in all competitions. We will give it a bigger mention of it later Jeff, in the show. Yes, mate.
Oh, Jeff, I'm looking at the bottom of that Championship, and oh dear me, Sheffield Wednesday 1 point, Sheffield United no points. I mean, it's grim reading, isn't it, for the City?
Yeah, it is indeed, but it's brilliant reading if you're a long-suffering Middlesbrough fan. I mean, who knows? Next season could be 3 North East teams in the Premier League. Newcastle, Sunderland and Middlesbrough. Might be a pipe dream, but at the moment it's looking possible. It's looking possible. It's a long way to go, isn't there? That's for sure. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to the relegation battle in the Premier League and just how bad things are looking for the likes of Wolves and Burnley. That's next.
unlocker of defensive depth.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
you don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Good morning, very nearly 8:20, Monday, September the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me right through till 10. Our biggest competition to date is now live. We're giving you the chance to win Oasis tickets plus a whopping 25 grand. Two lucky winners, not one but two, will each win a pair of Oasis tickets when they return to Wembley on the 27th of September. They don't just get the tickets, because we're giving you the chance to win that 25 grand as well. For all the details on how to enter this amazing competition, listen up right now.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
The very best of luck to you with that. I'm sure the Oasis boys will be concerned with Man City's form at the moment. Stay tuned at about 8:30. We'll be talking to former City boss Stuart Pearce about their issues. Quite a few people, by the way, have been texting, talking about Dominic Szoboszlai. I think one of our previous callers referred to him as a muppet. But in actual fact, he's done that sort of thing for Hungary on a number of occasions. That's what people are saying right now. OK, time for all the latest odds with Coral and John Hill.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
John, good morning to you.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Ali. What a great morning it is with Rochdale sat top of the National League 3. The sun is shining outside. And for some reason, my coffee tastes a little bit sweeter this morning.
Does it really? Well, you know why? You know why that is?
Feeling.
You know why that is? Obviously, we let you have Manny Disaruvwe, who's now joint top scorer in the National League. Yeah, we let you have him, mate.
Yeah, that boy is some number 9. We've been missing a number 9 like this for years, Jeff. He's just got everything. He holds the ball up well. He can finish. And those half chances that you need sometimes to win a game. He's a proper number 9. And I'm starting to get a bit giddy this season, but it is only September. So
Yeah. Look, he defends set plays brilliantly. And on top of all of that, he's a fantastic person as well. But I would point out, John, how many games have you lost this season so far?
Just the one.
Just the one. Oh, that's just one more than Hartlepool have lost this year. Just one more.
Oh, it's exciting though. It's nice to be up there, isn't it, Jeff?
Of course it is.
We've had a tough few years, so hopefully long may it continue, and long way to go. But we're very excited in Rochdale.
December the 30th at your place, mate. That's the big one.
I'll wait for it. It's in the diary.
Let's hope we're both still up there when it comes round, shall we? Look, let's talk about the Premier League, shall we? What about that Arsenal defeat at Liverpool yesterday? Has that dented their title odds?
A little bit. Look, it was always going to be significant in terms of the title betting, because they were the two teams at the top of the outright market at 7-4. But a late goal for Liverpool, a key one, and no surprise that they're now 13-10 favourites for the Premier League title again. Liverpool could change at the end at 5 o'clock today. That Isak deal obviously goes through. I think they'll shorten again in the betting. But Arsenal just drifted out slightly out to 15-8. The big drifters are Manchester City, though. Another defeat for Pep Guardiola's side. They're out to 13-2 now. Incredible. I think they were 11-4 when the season began. So to go out to 13-2 after just 3 games is quite extraordinary. Chelsea are 7-1, and then it's 33-1 Tottenham. But Liverpool in a strong position, Ali.
Oh, certainly, mate. They certainly are, and it could only get strengthened, I think, if things go according to plan for them, John, in the window. Listen, what about the other end of the table, John? Very interestingly enough, I think 3 good performances from the newly promoted sides. You can consider maybe Burnley being a little bit unlucky not to get anything, Leeds getting a point, Sunderland another victory. How's the betting looking down there, mate?
Yeah, and a huge win yesterday for West Ham. They were one of the teams that I had in my shortlist as a team to worry about this season, but that was a huge win against Nottingham Forest. Eases the pressure from Graham Potter a little bit, so they're out to 11-5. But it is at the moment Burnley 1-3 for relegation, Sunderland 4-5, so 2 of the new comers there. And then the next bet is actually Wolves, and they're in trouble, Wolves. I really do, actually. I heard from the manager after the game. He's concerned that they're not bringing enough players in, and they could be losing their best player as well. today. So they're 5-6. Wolves Leeds 21-10. I've seen enough from Leeds to suggest that they've got a great chance of surviving this season. 11-5 West Ham, as I mentioned, and then it's 11-4 Brentford. So as you mentioned, Ali, of the teams that have come up, albeit Burnley were beaten, Sunderland have given themselves a good chance. I don't think we're going to see what we saw last season, all three sides down. I think at least one of them should survive.
You know what, Coisty, my concern, we talk about Leeds, is, you know, unlike Sunderland, you think with Leeds, where are the goals coming from?
Goals, correct, mate. I couldn't agree more. You look at Sunderland, and the one thing they do, they get crosses into the box. You know, I mean, their goals against West Ham, they're winning on Saturday. Isidore's header, as you correctly say, brilliant cross in. They do get balls into the box, and they look as they're going to score goals, mate. And that's a massive thing, obviously, Jeff.
We had a Middlesbrough fan texting a couple of minutes ago, John, saying, look, top of the table, 4 wins out of 4 under Rob Edwards. Have you got the championship odds to hand? Where did Middlesbrough figure in that?
Yeah, they're shorting all the time. They're 8-1. I think they were 14-1 at the start of the season, Jeff. So we've still got Ipswich top of the tree, albeit they've not had a great start. I think they got a late equaliser, didn't they? I think it was something like the 106th minute on Saturday, Ipswich. They're still top of the tree at 4-1. Birmingham 6-1. Southampton 6-1. 13-2 Coventry and 8-1 Middlesbrough. I think that says it all. This is always a competitive league, isn't it? And 4-1 the field, even at this stage, I won't have a clue who's going to win that league.
Yeah. Before the season started, before a ball was kicked, I was pressed into predicting who I thought would win that division. Who did I go for? Sheffield United. It's as far wide in terms of predictions as my prediction that Bournemouth would be relegated is. I mean, you know, I had a good year last year. I'm having an absolute shocker this time.
You've had an average start. Don't be too harsh on yourself. There's a long way to go. You've had an average start. John, I was going to say to you, mate, a bit of racing. The Coolmore operation in Ballydoyle, some concerning news, obviously, regarding Ryan Moore. I'm reading this morning, he's got a stress fracture of his femur.
He is, yeah. He's going to be out for the season, which is absolutely a big shame. Ryan Moore, for me, the best jockey in the world, hands down, the best rider in the world. And yeah, we wish him well. Hopefully, he gets back in that saddle soon, fit and healthy. And there's going to be some big targets, isn't he? We've got St Ledger coming up at Doncaster, the final British Classic of the season. The Arc at Paris, at Longchamp in October, and no doubt Ballydoyle will have some, contenders for those two races. So yeah, wish him well. Hope he gets back next season, fit and healthy, because we all love to see Ryan Moore in the saddle, don't we?
Yeah, absolute genius in the saddle, no question. Yeah. John, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, John.
Cheers, guys.
And that was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to Coral 18+, Gamble Aware. Coisty, by the way, it's a harsh world out there, isn't it, in footballing terms. York City in the National League sacked their manager, Adam Hinchelwood, this week. After 4 games. His record? Played 4, won 1, drawn 3, lost none. And he was sacked.
It's incredible, isn't it, mate?
Oh, man.
It's incredible.
Simply incredible. Coming up, we all thought Manchester City would be contending again this season. Well, most people did anyway. After that win on the opening day, but after their losses to Spurs and Brighton, is their recruitment the reason for their apparent regression? We'll discuss that next.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
let's be honest, we've all found ourselves raging at a referee's decision at some stage. Something like this?
That is an absolutely shocking decision.
They've got a case in that it was a bad decision. It's such a poor decision.
Yeah, I think he's just made a bad decision in that instance.
But what does it take to get to the very top level of football refereeing? You can apply to become a referee through your local county FA from as soon as your 14th birthday. After spending several hours either in the classroom or on the pitch, they'll grant you Level 7 status, which allows you to officiate amateur games. Then you'll work your way through the ranks of amateur football, not reaching the National League until Level 2. It's a long process, bearing in mind every level from 7 upwards takes an average of a year. Also, there's no specific number of games you have to ref or hours you have to log before moving on up. You simply just have to be good enough. Once you're Level 2 and have enough experience at a National League level, you can apply to the EFL to become a Level 1 referee. Then it's on you to get enough experience to climb through the ranks and eventually become a Premier League referee. In total, there are 37,000 registered referees across England, but the PGMOL has only deemed 21 good enough to officiate games in the top flight. So if you want to make it to the top, there's less than a 1 in 1,000 chance of doing it, and it'll take you a decade to get there.
Good morning, 8:33, Monday, September the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark at £750 of any used electric car or home charger. Just want to mention a few of the events in the EFL at the weekend. We mentioned that Sheffield United bottom of the table lost to Middlesbrough, who are top. Shocker of a start for Ruben Sellers, but I'm not quite sure what the United hierarchy expected. Complete change of start from the legendary Chris Wilder. Ruben Sellers was at Hull. He didn't pull up any trees in his spell there. Won 9 out of 28. He says his future is not in his hands. And just as bad, by the way, Sheffield United fans will be looking at the fact that Gus Hamer is constantly being linked with a move before the end of the window. I tell you what, down in League One, Coisty, Cardiff City, top of League Two. Brian Barry Murphy, not conceded a goal in open play. And listen to this, they beat Plymouth at the weekend. Their back four were aged 18, 19, 22 and 23. And 2 other 20-year-olds also started. How about that?
Well, I've got it in front of me, and I'm actually looking at pictures of the back four, Jeff, right? They say, my mum used to tell me, you know, you're getting old when policemen and doctors start looking old. Well, that back four looks as though they should still be doing their A-levels, man. It really is incredible.
Amazing.
Fair play to them. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he was a Manchester City academy coach, so he's obviously decided to put into practice the sort of things that he did there. Because his dad, Jimmy Barry Murphy, was an icon in Ireland with hurling and Gaelic football.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was, still is, actually, I believe. Tom Cleverley, by contrast, he filled for him a bit as the Plymouth manager, and his next 2 league games, Stockport and Luton.
They've lost players as well, haven't they,
Tough,
Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. League Two first points for Cheltenham at Salford. In fact, they almost won the game. They did by a 90th minute equaliser, and a massive win for Swindon at Crewe. And Ian Holloway continues to work his magic.
It's incredible, isn't it? He's some man. He really is some wee man. And we get him on our show, and he's brilliant value. He's one of these guys. He's so infectious, Jeff. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've never been in a dressing room with him, but you know that way you can just picture him marching about that dressing room, getting everybody up for the game on their toes. I bet he's just brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. He must be fantastic to play. Well, it shows, doesn't it? Because, you know, Swindon was struggling so much prior to his arrival, and now they all want to play for him. They want to play for him, and they are playing for him. Down in the National League, Coisty, you got any idea who the Tinners are?
Tinners with an M or an N?
Tinners with a T. Tinners.
Right, Tinners. In answer to your question, I'm going to have a guess because I'm looking at the league. The Tinners would be Southend.
No, they're the Shrimps, aren't they? Shrimpers. The Tinners are Truro. Okay.
Oh, because you enlightened me. Because you gave me you quite correctly gave me a bit of a shuriken last week when I said, I don't know, I think it was Exeter were going somewhere, or whatever, it might have been Plymouth, and I said that must have been some journey, and you said it's not the longest, and then you can fly in it with Truro.
And it's not. But listen to this. So Boston were at Truro at the weekend. That's about a 700-mile round trip. They took 196 fans to watch their side play the bottom club. Truro had lost all of their games since their promotion to the National League. Truro then proceeded to score 3 goals in 9 minutes. Boston lost 3-0. It was Truro's first ever win at National League level. Then they had that trek back, and I was told, I'm not sure it happened, that Boston's management was so upset that they were making their players come in for extra training on Sunday morning. So they have had one hell of a weekend.
Oh, my goodness. That's the bus journey of all bus journeys, that, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Fair play to those supporters all going down.
196, I was well impressed with that. That's a brilliant effort. My lot played the last 45 minutes or so with 10 men after a sending off against Boreham Wood. So we
not a goal between us this season, mate, you and I. Our teams, not a goal between us.
Look, let's move on because Rodri might be back for Manchester City, but it didn't seem to help them at the Amex yesterday.
That's time! Brighton up and running for 2025-26 as they come from behind to beat the might of Manchester City, who were looking so strong in this game and led 10 minutes before the break through Erling Haaland as he got his 88th Premier League goal. But after that, it was the Brighton show. Back-to-back defeats for Pep Guardiola's side, having started so well at the start of this season with a 4-0 demolition of Wolves.
Let's get some reaction to City's defeat at the Amex, shall we, with Stuart Pearce. Morning, Pearcey.
Good morning, Pearcey.
Morning, gents. Morning.
Hey, Stuart, before we move on, a couple of quick things. First, Brian Gruder took his goal brilliantly. And what about James Milner, now the second oldest and second youngest ever Premier League goal scorer?
Incredible.
Well, Millie's a shining example of what you need to be a top professional with longevity in this country. He's fantastic. You know, he's the epitome of what a professional should be. You know, I've been fortunate enough to work with him many years ago, back in the 1870s, I think it was, when Millie first started out, you know. But, but he's brilliant. But some result again, when I saw it was 1-0, I thought, well, you know, this will go City's way. But City over the last year or so have been in the ascendancy in some games, and they've lost leads going back to the start of last year, and it's quite alarming, really. Normally, if you're having on a bad run or not playing particularly well, once you get your nose in front, that settles things down and you're nice and confident, but not so sure these days. It's been a bad start for City.
It has, Pearcey. I'm looking at it. I did the game against Tottenham. I thought Tottenham were excellent, but even coming back off that Club World Championship in America, Pearcey, I'm looking at City, mate, and there's just something not right, mate. I think the fear factor's definitely gone from them. They went through that period, maybe 2 years, 18 months, everybody was terrified and with some justification. But I think that's gone, mate. And I look at teams now and they're just going to have I'm not saying they don't have any respect. Of course they've got respect, but I think they're having a go, mate.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's been too many times I watched City and the opposition break at them, Ali, and the opposition outnumber them breaking at them. And that's quite alarming. You shouldn't see that particularly readily in matches or game after game scenarios, you know. So, the fear factor has definitely gone, no doubt about that. But I think we've got a brilliant Premier League developing here with the newly promoted teams all got a win under their belt so far, you know, and everyone seems to be beating everyone, apart from maybe Liverpool, which I think are nailed on to retain the title again, personally.
I just want to ask you about City's recruitment, Stuart. Do you think it's been a bit below par recently? And I don't just mean this last window, you know, but I look at players who come in, Nunez and Aït-Nouri, Kuznov, Marmoush, maybe even Bob and Doku. You know, I look back to the days of Riyad Mahrez. Has the recruitment been a little below par?
I think the opposition and the league has got stronger, I would say. I think that's played its part in this. But recruitment's never easy, you know. Sometimes you can, you know, Haaland was one of the biggest talents across Europe and signing him's a no-brainer. But sometimes, you know, bringing players in, and they play in a very defined style as well, don't they, you know? So you might even point the finger at Jack Grealish and say, you know, Jack, before he got to City, and then the style of play, the slow build-up, maybe did it suit him or whatever, and now he seems to have got his tail up again, going to Everton in a more free-flowing style. I don't know, you know.
Pearce, do you think, I mean, we're saying, I'm saying, and I still believe it, the fear factor's gone a little bit. But am I maybe doing a disservice to the other teams? Is one of the problems City have got that they've maybe not went back the way, but they've stood still, whereas Liverpool, Arsenal, clearly Tottenham watching them, other teams have actually continued to progress?
Yeah, there's no surprises when you play City now. You know exactly what you're going to get. You know the style of play that you're going to get from them in many ways. You know, don't forget they've lost one or two top talents, namely De Bruyne, you know what I mean, who is a game changer and a game winner in himself, certainly in his pomp he was. So, listen, we better not write them off just yet, let's say, are we?
Yeah.
Mind you, look at the next three fixtures, by the way. They've got the Manchester derby, followed by Napoli at home and then Arsenal away. So it doesn't get any easier. Quick word on what happened at the City ground, Stu. West Ham, goodness me. If anybody needed a win, it was Graham Potter. Oh, well, actually, or maybe it was Nuno. I don't know.
Well, this is the question. Which one needed it a bit more? I think with a meeting with the chairman this morning, I think he's got Nuno. It might have been Forest, but West Ham were desperate for that. I was at the Wolverhampton game in the week when they went 2-1 up in the Cup. You thought they were going to coast through now, and Strand Larsen made a big difference when he come on, and they looked, you know, shell-shocked at that stage. But it'll do the club and Graham, it'll give them a big lift, especially going into the international week.
Pearce, just before you go, transfer deadline day today. We talked about Manchester City and recruitment. All the stories are that Donnarumma's going to end up there. If you're James Trafford, how are you feeling right now?
You'll probably be a little bit disappointed, but, you know, you've got a top goalkeeper there as well, Donnarumma as well. If I was advising him, I would say, look, at the age you are at the moment, see this as a positive if Donnarumma comes in. You've got competition, so you've got to up your game. And also you've got two great role models that have been around the block to learn from over the next year or so. So I would use it as a positive rather than a negative if I was him.
Stu, thanks very much.
Have a good week.
Pleasure,
have a great day.
All the best,
Take care. Have a good day.
Right, let's look ahead to the next hour of the show with Benchmarks, part of Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarks.
Deadline day. My, transfer news is so hot. It's not just rumours that I've got. Chairman, keep telling me if it's a loan signing or involves a fee. It feels so good when I really know who's coming in and who will go. And I'll tell you this much, on deadline day, it's me you can't touch.
Yeah, the yellow tie out in full force for Whitey's favourite day of the year. Deadline day.
Deadline day.
Brilliant. How good is that?
Tremendous.
The man himself will be along to tell us exactly how you can follow all the movers and shakers on talkSPORT today. That was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins Hire.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With 250 hire branches nationwide, it's easy to hire at Travis Perkins.
Morning, very nearly 8:50, Monday, September the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast Time. Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. What do we know this morning? Wayne Rooney says this season could be now or never for Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta, and he'll be expected to win silverware. Transfer deadline day, Isak looks almost a done deal. Gahey now looking unlikely. Let's get the very latest. Ben Jacobs is back in the studio. Hi again, Ben.
Hi,
morning.
Ben.
I've got a text here from Carl from Buxton who says, "Morning, Jeff and Ali, and you, Ben. Just on Leeds, do you think Jamie Vardy could do a job for them? I'm sure he would have enough to keep them up. And he probably would, but I think he's off elsewhere, isn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately, Leeds can't do that deal. They signed Dominic Calvert-Lewin. They might still be looking for another attacker, though. Facundo Buonanotte was supposed to join. He didn't turn up for the medical, and now is going to Chelsea instead. So Leeds are going to be alert in the final days of the window. But Jamie Vardy off to Cremonense. It's a one-year deal with a one-year option. He had opportunities within England, MLS, even linked with Wrexham as well, but he's decided to face a new challenge abroad. Ben, so bad news for Leeds fans.
Here's a question for you. Why has that move not happened earlier? When I say that move, why has any move not happened earlier for Jamie Vardy? Do you think he's just been taking his time? 'Cause I thought he'd have been wanting to hit the ground running at the start of the season.
Yeah, I think you make a great point, and it's probably two reasons. The first is that free agents don't have to worry about the window, so what they tend to do is wait a little bit later, knowing that there's a merry-go-round, and maybe they get an opportunity. So you sort of keep your powder dry rather than taking the first offer, and then late in the window you make a decision. And the other thing is just age and wage. Of course, we know Jamie Vardy is a world-class striker, but still a high wage, a Premier League one in some respects, and Cremonense apparently are making him their highest earner at the club. And I think there's a bit of reticence as well, because sides that have needed a striker, Newcastle United late on, Brentford as well, their models don't tend to lean towards somebody in their mid-30s, and that's why Vardy didn't get a Premier League move.
Not too shabby, is it, from non-league football
Brilliant.
To Serie A? I mean, you know, and of course a Premier League title along the way. You just couldn't make it up, could you? I mean, you mentioned Wrexham. They are outspending everybody, aren't they, in the Championship? Any more business coming their way?
Yeah, an exclusive here on talkSPORT that we can bring you, and that's Isak from Manchester City is now in advanced talks to finalise a season-long loan. No buy option for Wrexham. I'm expecting this one to get done. A medical's already been booked. Clubs are finalising the deal. So Kabore will be off to Wrexham. And as you say, they've been very busy this summer.
Oh, they certainly have, no doubt about that. Not start of the season as they would have wished, but they managed to nick a win, I think, at the weekend, didn't they? So
good victory at Millwall, yeah.
On their way. Good news for Phil Parkinson. Donnarumma, are we any closer to that being done?
Yeah, I think we are. Manchester City, I'm told, are confident now. So the expectation is that Gigi Donnarumma goes to Man City. Edison's transfer to Fenerbahce is agreed. So everything is in place. And the only thing stopping the paperwork and the signatures is City need to find a goalkeeper. Bad news in many ways for James Trafford. Donnarumma will come in as the number one. Clubs are finalising a deal that's expected to be south of 35 million euros. Donnarumma wants the move, and for Manchester City, that's a really good signing, because even though Donnarumma's fallen out with PSG, due to the fact Lucas Chevalier has come in as the number one, you're talking about one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Yeah. Ben, thanks very much. Good news for you is you only got just over 10 hours before the window shuts.
7 o'clock, it's earlier, so I get to bed by 10 tonight.
Yeah, in your dreams anyway. So thanks, Ben. Wayne, a West Ham fan, just said a week ago, Gabby said my West Ham are in a relegation battle. Can you ask him if Villa are in the same situation? He said, by the way, you can't have Paqueta. They won't be getting Paqueta. I think that's safe to say, Wayne. Brilliant win for West Ham at the weekend, wasn't it? And the impact of the substitutes, Somerville and Wilson, absolutely outstanding. And Jarrod Bowen as well almost scored one of the goals of this season or any other season. But unfortunately, Callum Wilson got in his way just at the key moment, which Callum found pretty amusing, but I'm not sure that Jarrod did.
No,
anyway.
I don't think he shared that opinion.
No. Now, a 96-minute spot kick prevented Manchester United's awful week from getting a whole lot worse.
Oh, he's put it in the back of the net. Bruno Fernandes puts the ball in the back of the net. Manchester United 3, Burnley 2 from the penalty spot. A smash and grab at the end of this game. Looks like it's going to give Manchester United all 3 points. My goodness, what a game of football. Manchester United 3, Burnley 2.
Well, it begs the question, had it stayed 2-2, could Ruben Amorim have survived that? And actually, I'm going to ask the question, Coist, do you think he wants to survive it? I mean, he looks like he's hating it.
I know. Yeah, it does. The body language, I was watching at the weekend, and I'm only seeing the highlights, Jeff, like yourself. We're not seeing the entire game live. But it doesn't look as though he's in a happy place, But I genuinely think that he wants to be given time to turn that around. I think he will be given time. I mean, the Grimsby result aside, right, which is an absolute shocker, I think there has been improvement in the level of performance. I really do. And I know they get beaten at home by Arsenal, and I know some people could say they're a wee bit fortunate at Fulham, although they could have won it late on with Maguire's header. I'm watching the highlights of the game, and first half against Burnley, that they're playing well, and they probably could and should be scoring more. Now, it's how do you gauge the improvement, Jeff, in Manchester United? Clearly, after last year, there has to be a distinct level of improvement, and I think there will be. But they still won't be anywhere near the creme de la creme at the top of the league, Jeff. So that's the problem, again, that a lot of the United fans and Amorim will face. Yes, I think he'll improve the team, but will he improve it enough to appease the fans and the owners? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Yeah, but surely they can't keep changing. Jim.
No, I agree. But just with Amorim, I mean, I thought after that Grimsby game, and I know it was raw, when he said my players spoke very loudly, suggested to me that he believed the players weren't behind him or weren't behind his system. And he then mentioned the international break coming in the Burnley game, and it said to me that maybe he had a plan to leave come what may after that Burnley game. I mean, look, only time will tell. One thing for sure is that at the moment he's not having Šeško, is he? Because he didn't start, and then when Cunha came off injured, Cunha comes off injured, and he sends on Xerxes instead.
I mean, I find that unbelievable, to tell you the truth. I mean, already, rightly or wrongly, a lot of us are making opinions, and it is far too early, on the likes of Gyökeres, for example, right? Who a couple of goals against Leeds, I didn't think played particularly well yesterday, but neither did a lot of the top players in that game. But at least Arteta's playing him, and we're getting a look at him and seeing him. It's bizarre that we're not seeing it enough of Šeško. It really is. It's crazy.
No, it really is. I couldn't agree more. Sam, who's a Leeds fan, you're a cruel fella, Sam. He says, can I find out if Jeff is rethinking his relegation predictions now? I thought Leeds, Sunderland and Bournemouth were on the cards for the drop. Any news, Jeff, of your new relegated teams? Sam, no.
Jeff,
no news at all.
I've got news for the punters out there. See the listeners out there, you and I, like every club in the country, should be able to change it at the end of the window.
Yeah. And by the way, Sam, I did not say that Leeds or Sunderland would go down. I predicted them both to stay up, okay? I did say that I thought Bournemouth would be relegated, but I have reconsidered now, and I've got 3 different teams. But I'm not saying publicly who they are, okay? I mean, Bournemouth were brilliant at the weekend against Tottenham. I didn't think they could play that well. With a number of players they've lost.
It's in the small print. I don't know if the listeners know, Jeff. It's in the small print. talkSPORT presenters reserve the right to change their opinions on relegation throughout the season. Yeah. I've got it in my contract.
Yeah. I mean, I've got 3 teams written down. But honestly, even if you twisted my arm right up behind my back, I'm not going to say who those 3 are, because inevitably they will all then win their next game. I mean, it's just like day follows night. It is 8:59 coming up. With it looking incredibly likely that Isak deal will be over the line today. Have Liverpool had the best transfer window in the history of Premier League football? Oof. Crikey, I've just read that. That's maybe going a bit far. What does the Isak deal mean for Ekitike? We'll discuss that next.
The Premier League's profit and sustainability rules are sold to us as financial fair play, a way to keep clubs from going bust. But there are those who feel it's starting to look a lot like a system that protects the big boys and keeps the rest in their lane. Here's how it works and why people feel that way. So clubs can only lose 105 million quid over 3 years, which sounds fair, but here's the kicker. Your limit includes how much you earn. So if you're one of the traditional top 6, you've got massive global revenue streams and you can spend way more while still technically following the rules. Meanwhile, ambitious clubs who've got money like Newcastle, Villa or Forest, well, they're bringing a knife to a gunfight. Newcastle might be backed by Saudi billions, but they just can't splurge the cash. Their commercial income isn't there yet. Want to buy world-class talent? Well, PSR says to them, your owner might have the money, but you're not making enough in shirt sales in Asia for that. The Magpies won their first domestic trophy since 1955, qualified for the Champions League, which you'd think would be a great springboard for them to go on and start building a team to challenge at the top. But because of PSR restraints, they couldn't break their wage structure for a new Alexander Isak contract, and look what's happened there. Nottingham Forest tried to invest to survive, they did that, but they got punished anyway. Meanwhile, clubs like Spurs, until last season, hadn't won a trophy in over 18 years, but because they rake in cash from the new stadium, they get a much bigger PSR allowance than a newly promoted club who are just trying to stay up. And let's not forget the loopholes these big boys are exploiting. Chelsea found the trick with those long contracts, selling the women's team. City are masters of related party sponsorships. Etihad this, Etisalat that, all within the rules, and fair play to them for capitalising on those opportunities. But what about the smaller clubs? They don't have that luxury. Now look, financial sustainability matters. Nobody wants another Bury or Morecambe situation. But there's increasing concern that rather than levelling the playing field, the current rules cement the existing hierarchy. So what's the solution? Well, either loosen the reins so ambitious clubs can spend within their means, or cap spending based on something other than revenue. Otherwise, we're just watching the same 6 teams swapping silverware most seasons while the rest play musical chairs for 7th. And that, folks, ain't what the Premier League was built on.
Good morning. This is talkSPORT's breakfast show with me, Jeff Stelling, and Ally McCoist, and Arnold Clark. Ally McCoist. Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. 9:06, Monday, September. The first couple of texts. What thoughts on Brian Gruder winning the Ballon d'Or, Jeff? What a finish it was, Coisty.
Great goal.
What
Great
a finish.
goal. Everything about it, you know, they just. I keep saying to you, Jeff, like strikers and goal scorers, that wee bit of composure right at the end, that split second, he executed it perfectly, didn't he?
He did. First goal for Brighton as well. You'd never have guessed it the way he took it. And Paul in Peterborough says, thanks for mentioning my team, Boston United, and our fabulous fans making the 700-odd mile trip to Truro on Saturday. The players were indeed called in for extra training on Sunday. One thing you didn't mention is we have another mammoth away trip on Wednesday to your lot in Hartlepool. Doubt there'll be 196 there. However, it's a short trip. It's just a little hop as far as you're concerned, Paul. 330-mile round trip on Wednesday evening. Your boys are going to know they've put in some miles by the end of this week, that's for sure. It is transfer deadline today. There is only one transfer we can start with.
Back from the edge of the area, out to Gordon, right wing cross, into Isak, brilliant header, up high, and powers it beyond David Raya, and Newcastle United lead.
No, I love it here and love playing in front of this crowd and these fans.
Newcastle United reached total agreement with Liverpool to sell Alexander Isak.
Finds Isak in front of goal, toe pokes it in, brilliant finish from Alexander Isak, improvised so well, a hat-trick for Isak.
As a club, we're always trying to look around where is a player that can improve us, and if we find or we target one, we try to bring him in.
Since Isak scored and was named man of the match on his Newcastle debut, ironically against Liverpool 3 years ago, he's been incredible. 54 Premier League goals, 86 Premier League games.
But the fact of the matter is his behaviour right now is poor.
He sounds like he's a bit of a scoundrel to me.
A bit of a scoundrel. He's an expensive scoundrel, that's for sure. £125 million to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle. Chris is one of a number of people who's said that, did I just say the Isak meal deal? And Newcastle are now asking for a bag of crisps and a drink as well as the £125 million. Brilliant.
Very good.
Yeah, I can't remember saying that, but I'll take your word for it, Chris. Isak meal deal. Yeah. So, look, he's expected to undergo a medical today and sign a 6-year contract. Of course, the original offer, £110 million, was rejected in August. All the noise around his transfer is over. Coisty, how important will he be to this Liverpool side? How much will he improve them?
Well, Jeff, you got to say, I mean, I think last season, arguably the best out-and-out centre-forward in Europe. Yeah, I think he had the whole package, mate. I think he could run in behind. I think he could hold it up. He could play the front line himself. He probably could play with a partner, though they didn't do that. I also think very, very impressive against the two best centre-backs, I think, consistently in the league. When his performance for Newcastle against Arsenal in both cup semi-finals and the League Cup, thought he was tremendous. Thought he was absolutely tremendous. So, from that point of view, it's an excellent signing for Liverpool. It really is. They've made some good signings in the window, Liverpool, but I think this could turn out to be their best. I mentioned to you, I've really enjoyed watching Ekitike as well. It looks like he would maybe get moved to a side, probably the left-hand side, you would think. But you better believe it strengthens him. You know, and people are saying, you asked me the question on Nil Eat Straw yesterday. I don't think they've really... We've not seen the best of Liverpool yet this season. No chance. But the fact of the matter is they're sitting with maximum points and sitting in a great position. I mean, again, I listened to Arne Slot, and he gets it right, Jeff, and just about everything he does so far. I loved his assessment of the game, and I think he was right. He said Arsenal were in top in the first half. He said, the second half there wasn't an awful lot in it. It took a piece of brilliance to win the game. And that was it, effectively. There was nothing between the sides. He knows that. But he believes, and rightly so, that he's got players in his team that in games like that can produce a little bit of magic that will get you over the line. But Isak will be another one that can certainly help them do that. If you asked me where I thought they probably needed strengthening more, I actually thought more centre-back than centre-forward, to tell you the truth. Just slightly. But, listen, mate, it'll be a tremendous signing for them. And it looks as though Mark Gay's not going to go there now. So in that position at centre back, if they get an injury, that would be a concern. But boy, they've had an incredible window.
Yeah, I mean, Chiesa was the option on the bench yesterday. Yeah. They're going to have more options on the bench for sure after this move. What about the way, Coisty, as an ex-player, what about the way that Isak has gone about forcing through this move? I mean, that opens the door for everybody to do the same thing, doesn't it?
Of course it does, mate. I mean, I've made my views on it crystal clear. I think it's been really poor. I just don't think he's handled it in any way, shape or form like you should, to be honest with you, Jeff. It's one thing wanting a move. And by the way, I know where he's coming from. We'd all probably want to move to Liverpool. I get it. But you can't go about it the way he's done it, Jeff. It's just wrong in so many counts. It sends completely the wrong message out to the supporters, to youngsters coming into the game. I don't care what MD says, mate. I think he's completely... As has Visa, as well, Jeff, with the way he's going about it. And then you flip the coin and you look at the two boys at Palace who appreciated they'd signed the contract. They appreciated that, at that moment in time, they were happy at the contract, for whether the contract's 3 years. As soon as you put pen to paper, you should, at the very least, expect and accept that you're going to be at that club or that place for the length of that contract. Now, there are other ways to go about it. You can sit down with Eddie Howe and say, Eddie, I've got an opportunity to go to Liverpool here. I want to go. Where are we placed here? How are we placed? And Eddie says, no, I don't want you to go. You need to stay for a year. You need to see your contract, whatever it may be. But I just think he's handled it really, really poor. And I'd ask you the question, Jeff, if he has 2 great years and he's signed a 5-year contract and Real Madrid come in for him, he could probably do the exact same thing, mate.
Yeah. Let's just get a very quick thought on this from Carl, who's a Liverpool fan. Morning, Carl.
Good morning, Carl.
Morning, you okay?
Yeah, so you're pleased to have Isak on board?
Yeah, very much. He's a good addition, like you say yesterday. Only really Chiesa as a senior option off the bench in terms of attacking, so it's a long season. There's going to be injuries, so I think we definitely need that backup. Obviously, the price tag could be a risk, but he is Premier League proven at least. So I think he'll do well.
Yeah. How does he fit in with Ekateke?
That's the thing. He's looked great since he's come in. Yeah. So hopefully he can fit in around him. I'm not sure how. Maybe he moves to the left because I wouldn't want him to get pushed out because he's had a great start.
Yeah.
But obviously he's not had a pre-season, so he's not going to be coming straight into the team anyway, is he? For a little while until he gets his fitness up, because obviously he's not at the start of the season. He's not really had a pre-season, so obviously there's going to be a bit of time for him to settle in, get back up to fitness. So,
yeah. Carl, what about the centre back position, mate? What about the centre back position for you? I thought Kanate played well yesterday, obviously, and I thought it was a strong. But
he struggled for the start of the season, but he did much better. The defence looked miles better yesterday.
Yep, agreed.
Really did. But I think Joe Gomez come on and he looked brilliant. He was colossal, really. He was getting to everything, blocking everything. So I think if Joe Gomez stays fit, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Obviously now Gay doesn't look like he's coming, but obviously fitness-wise, he has struggled with injuries. So that's the same again. It's just a bit of a risk.
Carl, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Carl.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I just want to mention a text that I've had here. It's from someone called Joe. Joe's down on his luck at the moment, really, really down on his luck present. Joe, I know you're listening, so nothing's ever as bad as it seems, mate. Hang on in there. I want you to promise me you will be listening to Coisty and me tomorrow morning when we start at 6 o'clock, okay?
Please do, Joe.
Absolutely. So Liverpool fans delighted, but what about Newcastle? That's next. Very good morning to you. 9:20, Monday, September the 1st. Chris in Newcastle says, morning, gents. We've rolled over and had our belly tickled. Player power has gone mad. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, nodding in agreement in the background with Chris from Newcastle there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's spot on, isn't he? But what can you do about it?
Yeah.
Players do have all the power at the moment. It's transfer deadline day. Of course, clubs have got till 7 o'clock to get their business done in this country. Let's get an update from our transfer reporter, Ben Jacobs. A lot of West Ham fans. They'll be feeling a lot happier today after that 3-0 win at Forest, no doubt about that. They'd like to see one or two more in through the door, though, I would imagine, Ben. Any sign of that happening?
Yeah, I think West Ham are going to be very busy in the course of the next few hours. The good news is that Lucas Paquetá is expected to stay. You will have seen his goal celebration yesterday, chucking away a phone that he made with his hand and then kissing the West Ham badge. Naif Agard, though, looks like being on the way out. He's joining Marseille, we understand, for a fee of around £17 million. Now, Graham Potter wanted to keep the player, but Agard refused to play in that excellent 3-0 win over Nottingham Forest on Sunday. So West Ham will seek a replacement if that deal is finalised. And the young defender at Toulouse, Charlie Cresswell, ex-Leeds United, is one to watch. So I think West Ham are going to have outgoings and incomings to try and back Graham Potter. And even though Mateus Fernandes was excellent and a good signing for them, he still wants some more legs in the centre of the park.
Charlie Cresswell, by the way, excellent for the under-21s, in the Euros, wasn't he? I was one of the standout players for me. We keep going back, don't we, to Mark Gay. Is it on? Is it off? What's the latest?
Yeah, I think there is some encouragement from the perspective of Liverpool. So we started this morning thinking that the deal might be a little bit difficult because yesterday the manager, Oliver Glasner, had gone to Steve Parish and said, I want to keep this player, let him leave on a free transfer. That's better for our season, as opposed to taking between 35 and 40 million. But in the last kind of half an hour or so, there's been a surprise approach from Crystal Palace to Brighton to sign Igor Julio on what we understand to be a season-long loan, another player that is being looked at today by West Ham United. And personal terms are not thought to be a problem. So if Palace get that one over the line, even though we think it will only be a temporary deal, it might give a little bit of encouragement for Liverpool to come back in for Mark Gay. Still not a guarantee that that deal happens, but the Gay deal not off, and I would keep an eye on it right until the final minutes of the window.
Yeah, Igor Julio, when he was in the Brighton side, a lot of fans liked him a lot, by the way. Just finally, Ben, just before you dash off, we're going to talk Newcastle in a moment. Any sign of any more incomings for them?
Yeah, I think Newcastle will be alert to a second attacker. We know that Alexander Isak has left. A reminder, British transfer record, £125 million. No add-ons. Newcastle will bill it as 130 million due to solidarity, but Liverpool are only paying 125 million. So then who could come in? Well, Jorgen Strand Larsen is expected to stay at Wolves, barring any surprises, even though he's keen on a move to Newcastle. Let's see if they test Wolves' resolve in the final hours of the window. Johan Wissel wants the move to Newcastle United, but Brentford would need another attacker to come in if that deal is to happen. And of course, Nico Jackson is a really interesting story. Liverpool have looked. Bayern had the deal done on a loan with a buy option. Chelsea pulled the plug after the injury to Liam Delap. Maybe Bayern will still try and come in and sign him permanently. Newcastle might make a move because they've got 65 million still to burn, some pocket change even after adding Nick Voltemada because of that Isak fee. So attackers and Newcastle are going to be a big story. Let's see if they add a second one now Isak is departing.
Ben, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks,
Newcastle
Ben.
at the forefront of many deals potentially. Let's get some reaction to it all from a former Newcastle United star. It's a very good morning to Lee Clark. Morning, Clarky.
Morning, Clarky.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali.
So, look, let's touch on Isak first of all, Lee. Are most Newcastle fans glad this is all over? Glad to see the back of him?
Absolutely, Jeff. Absolutely. The great news this morning that the deal eventually being done means that Eddie doesn't have to talk about him anymore. We don't have to worry about his behaviour, and we can just move on and hopefully get another striker in before 7 p.m. tonight, and it means that we've had a terrific window.
I think you're right, Clark. That's what I'm looking at. Obviously, Voltemada's come in from Stuttgart, Alanga, Ramsey, people like that. But I take your point with Callum Wilson going as well as Isak. I think you need another one as well, mate.
We absolutely do, Ali. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. When Callum went, we needed one, and then when the Isak bombshell came about, we needed two. And we've got one in Voltemade, who, by the way, is going to be a terrific signing. I see it because of his natural ability in any way, but we've got one of the best coaches at developing young players as well. So there's no ceiling to what he can do. And then do we go and get Vissa or Lawson, and hopefully we can get one over the line before the deadline shuts tonight.
Which one would you prefer, Clark, if you're given an option, mate?
I like Vissa, but I've got to say, I'm not a hypocrite. I don't condone his behaviour either. He's done the same to Brentford as what Isak's done to us. I think we'll have to learn from this window, the football authorities, whether FIFA, UEFA, the Football Association, and say there's got to be something put in place if players start behaving like this. Can we freeze their contracts until something's sorted? Because this is just setting an example to football at all levels. You'll be getting players at all levels starting to do this, and it leaves a bad taste because Isak, 20, 30 years down the line could have come back to St James's Park a hero, forever, remembered, forever loved. What will be remembered about him now is his behaviour in the last month or so.
If you do manage to bring a striker in, then, Lee, would you actually say that Newcastle, despite the departure of Isak, are Newcastle in a better position now than they were before, the transfer window opened?
Absolutely, Jeff. Stronger window. Ramsdale, goalkeeper. Chow, centre-back. Ramsey, centre midfield. Elanga, wide area. Voltemade as a striker. Hopefully another attacker, stroke striker coming in. For me, a much stronger squad when the window's closed than when the window opened, without a shadow of a doubt.
Clarky, what about Sunderland, mate? There's all sorts of claims that normal business has resumed in the northeast with Sunderland.
You're buzzing, Ali, aren't you? You're buzzing. Hey, they say, by the way, in the new club, your home form's crucial about staying up, and their home form just is absolutely exceptional.
Exactly.
I've heard the manager's quotes after the two home games, and he says the fans have drove them on, and that'll be the key. That's the key for all the promoted teams, your home form, and they've had a brilliant start. And we talked about it the other week when I was on with you, Ali. Fair play to Sunderland. They've given a right good go in the transfer market. They've went out and trying to strengthen the squad in all areas, in terms of depth, in terms of quality. And I'm for all the northeast. I want Middlesbrough. Rob Edwards has got Middlesbrough top of the table. Get them in the Premier League. Come on, let's get all the north clubs doing well. Get Hartlepool back in the Football League. Get me mate at Darlington to get them promoted. Get them all done. Let's get the northeast.
I'm with you, mate.
Again.
Well, I'm certainly with you, Lee. Certainly with you, mate. Hey, look, brilliant to talk to you, Lee.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Have a great day, mate.
Fantastic stuff. I just want to touch on Joe again, who sent us sent me a very touching text and a worrying text a moment or two ago. Joe, if you're listening, honestly, our listeners are all right behind you. We've had texts from so many people, including Ben and Carl, Josh, Greg, another Ben, all saying, be tough, mate, and make sure you're listening tomorrow. It is 9:29. Coming up, I'll be telling you which teams I think need to do some business today before the window closes at 7. Jim White's up next as he's working overtime today. Not one, but 2 shows, because, of course, it's deadline day. That's next.
Go. And I'll tell you this much, on deadline day, it's me you can't touch.
Amen Corner, perhaps the most feared run of holes in golf. Each year it claims the tournament hopes of many, with balls hitting bunkers and water traps aplenty. But why is it so fearsome, and where did it get its name? Just the thoughts of holes 11, 12 and 13 at Augusta National gives the likes of Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth the shivers. McIlroy hit 3 over and Spieth hit 4 over in their final rounds to blow their hopes of a green jacket in 2011 and 2016 respectively. But did you know Amen Corner's name is inspired by a jazz song from 1933? American sports writer Herbert Warren Wint, on the left here, wrote about it in 1958, referencing the song shouted in that Amen Corner when describing the run. Hole 11 is a par 4 over 520 yards with a green guarded by a pond and bunkers to the front edge. 12, perhaps golf's most famous hole, is a par 3 over just 155 yards. The green's guarded by Rays Creek at the front, more bunkers and azalea bushes ready to punish the smallest error. Then there's the 13th that teases the hook shot over the trees. It's a dogleg par 5 over 545 yards that's inviting for big hitters who want to reach the green in 2. If you want to win the Masters, you have to keep your score down around Amen Corner. So who'll be the next to fall victim to golf's most famous and most daunting challenge?
Deadline day. My transfer news is so hot. It's not just rumours that I've got. Chairman, keep telling me if it's a loan signing or involves a fee. It feels so good when I really know who's coming in and who will go. And I'll tell you this much, on deadline day, it's me you can't touch.
No, it's not MC Hammer, it's our very own Jim White, who, as he does every deadline day, is hosting not one, but 2 shows. He'll be alongside Simon Jordan and Emmanuel Petit from 10. That's the first shift. He's back at 6:30 with Alex Crook and Danny Murphy. Pleased to say Jim joins us now. How are you feeling? Are you ready for it?
Morning, Jim.
You've been in full training for this?
Very much so, Jeff. At my tender age now, I head back to the home in the afternoon, play croquet with some of the other residents there, and then they send a car for me and they bring me back in. But I'll be back on. Apparently it's a 7 o'clock deadline, Ali, because of workflow patterns. Because on a school night, and of course this is a Monday and that's a school night, 11 o'clock would be a bit late for people in their tender years such as myself. So it's 7 o'clock, Ali, which is a bit unusual, but hey, we'll go with that.
We're expecting plenty of action though, Jim, aren't we?
Well, I mean, talk about kicking it off today. Alexander Isak. Interestingly, Jeff, he's going to have a medical later today. I mean, Ben Jacobs has been right across this for you guys, and I've been hearing you talk about it. I mean, Newcastle bought him for 60 million. They're now selling him to Liverpool for 125, although Newcastle, an official at Newcastle is telling me this morning the deal's worth 130 million to the football club. On the basis that the conditions of selling Isak from Newcastle's point of view was at the price of 130 million at the end of it all, as well as bringing in a new striker, and they did that on Friday in the shape of Nick Voltemade, that would do it. So that has done it. Votamara is in the door. They say the deal is worth 130 million for Isak. Next time we see Isak, he'll be playing for Sweden, funnily enough, against Slovenia in the World Cup qualifier this week. And Newcastle tell me this morning, or a top official there tells me that they're adamant they've made the right decision.
Yeah, hearing a lot of Liverpool fans who don't want him to be playing for Sweden, so he's had no sort of pre-season, and the last thing they want for him to do is to go and play for Sweden and, you know, pull a groin or a hamstring, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose that's the chance they take, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah.
But it seems like a long time, Ali, since we've seen Isak play. Now we'll probably see him playing for Sweden, as I say, this week over in Slovenia. But deal done.
Jim, it has been frantic already. I know you're going to be absolutely up to your eyes all day. Good luck, pal.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much, and it's delightful to see both of you. Well, certainly you, Jeff. Ali's up the road.
So Jim back with Simon Jordan and Manu Petit from 10 o'clock, and then Jim back again with Alex Crook and Danny Murphy from 6:30. OK, let's head to the phone lines, get more on this Isak deal, one of the main stories today. Well, the main story, really, at the moment. Number to call 03717 223344. I would imagine it depends who your allegiance is with club-wise, where you sit on this one. If you're a Liverpool fan, you probably think it's absolutely brilliant. If you're a Newcastle fan, maybe less so. Let's hear from a Newcastle fan. Scott, good morning, Scott. Morning, Scott.
Morning, Scott.
Hello, Yaris.
Yeah, we're good, mate. How about you? Are you sad to see Isak go? Did you want him to stay?
Not sad to see him go at all. I mean, you don't want him to leave. He's a great player, but I've been going for over 40 years, and he's not the greatest centre-forward I've ever seen at Newcastle. So, and I think, if anything, he's done Newcastle a favour, because PSR restrictions now are not going to be the issue that have been. Last season, when you lose the likes of Anderson, who's now gone on to be picked up for England, a lot of Newcastle fans were gutted that he left. Same with Minter, who showed himself to be a real prospect. These are all players that, obviously, Anderson were brought on. Minter was scouted, and we had to lose him because of PSR. If Isak had left in the same sort of manner that we were forced to sell him through PSR restrictions, yes, we're being forced to sell him because of his behaviour, but I think it puts the Newcastle fans in the position that, look, if he didn't want to be here, let him go. We're getting 125, 130 million for him. That now alleviates PSR, and we can build a stronger team now.
Yeah.
In the manner he's done it, the way he's gone on, like Ali said as well, 2 years' time, he has another good season, Real Madrid come in. Is he going to do the same to Liverpool? Yeah. I mean, the Liverpool fans probably won't be as upset because most of their fans come from Surrey and Ireland. So, obviously, for Newcastle, we're a bit more invested in our team. And if the airport closed in Newcastle, the stadium would be full, unlike in Liverpool. So it's not really as serious as what people are making out for us.
Scott, let me tell you, mate, right, I thought the deal had to get done. See, as soon as he came out with that, and as soon as he behaved the way he did, I genuinely didn't think there was any way back. It made it difficult. The one man that made it really difficult for was Eddie Howe, because all of a sudden, you know you're going to lose an asset and you're trying to get a lot of money for him, but buying clubs know you're going to get rid of him, and it becomes one of those games. But however, what convinced it for me, mate, I was down at Villa Park, opening game of the season, talking to a few of the Newcastle lads down there, and I just felt the overriding feeling was they weren't having him. Get him out the door and let's get moving again.
Well, what came out, and I'm convinced now I've seen it, now I watched it, and I said this to my wife, because we're season ticket holders, we go, the last 10 to 11 games of that season, Isak might as well not have been at the club. The video came out about the words he had with Van Dijk. So we've won out for all this time, and we'll win a cup, people in the crowd crying, grown men breaking down, I'm crying, there's blokes who've never seen me win anything. And it turns out now he's having little words with the likes of Van Dijk on the pitch at the most vital moment we've ever, achieved something for like 70 years. You've got Bruno crying, you've got Tonali and Joe Linton, more or less in tears. And then so he didn't care about the club, and that's fair enough. We're fans, we love our club, and you've got to understand, a lot of players, it's a job for them, and that's fair enough. But there's ways of doing things, and like I said, I've been going. I mean, I do wonder, having watched Ekitike against Newcastle last week, I think maybe they've already signed a better striker, because Ekitike gave our defenders a much harder time for challenging for the ball, headers. He was far more physical. You know, he's a good player. His movement was very good. So, you know, Isak, he's a fantastic player. But like I go on my original point, I said I was convinced, looking back now, the Everton game, he didn't bother his backside to do anything.
Scott,
yep.
we got a moment. Before you go, though, if he wasn't the greatest centre-forward you've had, who was?
Obviously, Alan Shearer, and from what I've watched, Alan Shearer and Andy Cole.
Oh, right. Well, I watched them a bit longer, so you'd have to put Super Malcolm McDonald in there as well.
And is War Jackie? Is War Jackie not getting a mention either? Surely Jackie's got to get a mention.
Just before my time, Coisty.
Mine too.
Just. Scott, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Scott.
Let's move swiftly along. We're going to get the other perspective. Mark is a Liverpool fan. Morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mark.
Morning. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, good. What do you think about the Isak signing then? Is that the signing that will win you the league?
Well, I'm probably going to go against the grain here as a Liverpool fan, and I'm going to say I don't want him at the club. £130 million for a player that's injury prone and has a bad attitude. I think it's a poor signing. I'd rather see that money spent on 2 centre-backs and a midfielder, because what the Arsenal game showed us yesterday, we was overrunning midfield. So I think that's how the money should be spent.
It's an interesting one, Jeff, Mark, I'll tell you, because I if I'm looking at Liverpool this year, and I know yesterday they defended miles better, mate, miles better, and Kanate was back to the way he know he can play. But I take your point. I would have looked at Liverpool and said, priority-wise, they've strengthened really, really well in the window. There's no doubt about that. But if you're asking me priority-wise, I would have went centre-back before centre-forward. Yeah,
I agree. I don't agree with you about midfielders. I think you're overloaded with midfielders. McAllister and Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Jones, Elliott. Mark, thank you very much indeed. One Liverpool fan who's not having Alexander Isak even before a ball has been kicked. Very nearly 9:44. Coming up, we ask Ali whether he's concerned about the form of Victor Gyökeres after his performance yesterday. Very good morning to you. 12 minutes away from 10 o'clock Monday, September the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me today. Transfer deadline day. Clubs have got till 7 o'clock in England to get their business done. Let's get an update from Ben Jacobs. Ben, the Manchester United, the so-called Manchester United bomb squad, any movement on them?
Yeah, a lot of movement. So first of all, we can say there's finally an agreement for Anthony to rejoin Betis after being there on loan last season. There was drama around this deal because it was off originally, despite Manchester United accepting an offer for £25 million. Betis then issued a statement saying it's too expensive, we're withdrawing our offer. Now the price has dropped from £25 million to 22 million or 25 million euros, and Anthony will finalise that move today. Meanwhile, a developing story, Aston Villa are still working on Jadon Sancho, who was linked with Roma earlier in the window. Sancho would naturally, if it's a permanent deal, have to drop his wage demands, but I'm told Manchester United are prepared to sell for between 15 and 17 million. And at the same time, but a separate transfer, Manchester United are, of course, looking for a new goalkeeper. And along with Sané Lamens at Royal Antwerp, Emi Martinez at Aston Villa is a possibility. So is there a chance this afternoon that Martinez becomes Manchester United's new number one if they pick him above Lamens? And then whilst they're having that conversation, Sancho to Villa Park.
Goodness me, Jadon Sancho's value has absolutely plummeted, hasn't it?
Incredible, isn't it?
It is absolutely incredible, Coisty. Coisty, is the answer, is that what Villa need, Jadon Sancho?
Well, no, I don't think so. Not in current form. You know, I might be wrong, and the Villa fans might tell me I'm wrong, but I'm not sure that particular transfer is exciting a lot of the Villa fans, Jeff, is it, really?
No, I would imagine not, mate. But you never know. Look, at his best, he's a terrific player.
Oh, mate, listen, Jeff, I've got to tell you, I saw him, well, it seems like an eternity ago, at Dortmund in a couple of the European games, and let me tell you something, he was different class. But we've not seen it since, really, have we?
No, we haven't. Anything else we should look out for, Ben? I mean, there's so much today, isn't there?
Yeah, it's going to be a really busy day. Raheem Sterling, a very interesting situation, as is Ben Chilwell. Are they going to find domestic loans or permanent exits between now and the end of the window? All quiet on the Chilwell front for now. Raheem Sterling drawing interest from Fulham, but they're trying to finalise Kevin, a winger that will join from Shakhtar if all goes according to plan, for 42 million euros. That's about 35 million pounds. We also understand that the Burnley striker Michael Obafemi will be joining Bochum on loan. There is no buy option in that deal. And a reminder on two things. Nico Jackson's future after the Bayern loan was called off. Could Bayern come back in for a permanent move? What about Newcastle United, who would still like to add an attacker? And Alexander Isak's medical is going to start late morning. British transfer record, £125 million.
Dodge in Bradford says, Ali, Jeff, love talkSPORT. Why don't you cover all the lower leagues on the final deadline day? We don't all support Premier League teams. Dodge, it's Ben's fault. Thank you very much.
I can give you two little bits, though, of lower league information. If you like, Wrexham, as we broke earlier, are about to go on a season-long loan for Issa Kabore. So keep an eye on that one. And my club, Leicester City, still looking for a striker. Manor Solomon at Spurs has been discussed.
But no news. Look, Bradford have been flying anyway, Dodge. So
well recovered, Ben. Well recovered.
Yeah. Thanks very much indeed, Ben. Right, let's finish with a bit of this.
Ask me. Back to McCoist. The goal's been coming, and it's supplied once again by Ali McCoist.
Chop, 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 chop. I just used to chop it back over the net.
Hi there, it's Sean Dyche here. You're listening to the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast Show.
Can't it be a bit AC/DC, man?
But the football ground, it's pardon me.
I'm saying a mongoose. Yeah, but it's like a mongoose-like creature. It might be the mongoose, in fact.
Marvellous! You've got no idea. I used to be quite well respected in footballing circles.
So ask me.
Yeah, he's Rangers' all-time top scorer. He was voted the 98th sexiest man alive just before the turn of the century, 1999. Any idea who won that sexiest man alive competition, Coisty?
Oh, I'm guessing it would have to, with a competition, it would have to be somebody like George Clooney or something like that, surely.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. It was Richard Gere.
Oh, Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think's aged the better, you or Richard Gere?
You're loving this.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Hey, look, you were in the top 100. You know, I wouldn't have made the top 100,000. So brilliant. Look, first up. Luis Suarez making the headlines for all the wrong reasons once again. This time he spat at a coach in the States. Ali, we all know that spitting is seen as being despicable, spitting at someone. How long a ban should you get for spitting?
Well, listen, Jeff, I certainly think in these shores, and a lot of people will disagree, some might agree, but rightly or wrongly, it's seen as a horrendous crime, right? And I actually think it is. I think it is one of the worst things you can do or see. I genuinely do. Perhaps in some of the other countries, Latin America, for example, or perhaps Spain and places like that, I'm not saying it's accepted, but it probably happens more. You never see it. Hey, UK players just don't do it, right? They don't do it, and nor should they. I just think it is the ultimate lack of respect. I'll tell you right now, Jeff, I'd rather take one in the jaw than somebody spit in my face. I would. I just think it's diabolical. I really do. But as I say, different countries and different FAs will have a look at it. But if he was here, I think you should throw the book at him. Just throw the book at him.
Yeah, completely concur. Arsenal fired a blank at Anfield yesterday. Some are questioning Victor Gyökeres is really the number 9 that they need. What do you think, Coisty?
Maybe I've stoked that fire a little bit by saying I wasn't overly impressed. But listen, I've got to counter that by saying there was nobody in that pitch really performed, I don't think, to the ability that they can. I include Salah in that, who's one of the most gifted players we've seen. I thought he was bang average yesterday as well. So it would be wrong of me just to pick on Gyökeres. And he's already scored a couple of goals, penalty and another goal against Leeds United. So he has hit the ground running. The more I see him, Jeff, the more I think he might be a Haaland type, in the respect that he doesn't really enjoy the linking up part of it, and he will do it, but I think he's probably more like Haaland, where he wants to do his business in the box and position himself for a finish.
Yeah,
I don't have any doubt he'll score goals. I really do, but I think it'd be very, very harsh to judge him on certainly yesterday's performance.
Yeah, I mean, not a sniff yesterday. Got no sort of service whatsoever. Now, finally, Coisty, after Rangers were spanked by Club Brugge last week, Alan Brazil explained why you decided against making an appearance on the breakfast show the following morning.
Ali will not come on this morning, and I don't blame him. He's been on the lash last night, and he can't come on. He knows he's going to get battered.
Was that true then, Coisty? That Belgian beer, by the way, that is strong stuff.
I cannot deny, I'm going to give you the gospel truth, right? The 6th goal went in, right? Listen to this, Jeff. I promise you this is true. And I was devastated. And I went to my phone, and I got Brazil's number, and I messaged him. And I said, just to confirm, Alan, you will not be hearing from me tomorrow morning on the show, right? And then I did. Immediately post-match, I went back to the hotel with Rory, I had 2 beers and went to my bed depressed. There you are. That's exactly what happened, mate.
I'll tell you what, I was once on Eurostar going through Brussels, and the attendant came along and said, would you like a beer? And I said, yes, what have you got? And she said, we have weak, medium or strong. And I said, what sort of alcohol levels are the weak, medium and strong? She said, the weak is 6%, the medium is 8%, and the strong is 12%. In other words, the same strength as wine. So I'm not surprised you went to sleep after a couple of them, Coisty.
I think I flatlined, never mind went to sleep, Jeff. I think I flatlined. But no, Brazil was well informed, as I say, that there was no danger I was making an appearance in the show the next morning after that.
Brilliant. Hey, thanks for your company, Coisty. We'll see you in the studio tomorrow.
In the morning. Yep, look forward to it, mate.
Very much so, mate. Don't forget, transfer window closes at 7. There's a special Deadline Day drive show today, followed by a Deadline Day special with Jim White, our chief football correspondent, Alex Cook, and the former Liverpool midfielder, Danny Murphy. talkSPORT, giving you the inside track on who your club are signing, keeping you up to date with the latest deals as they happen. As I said, Ali and I will be back tomorrow morning from 6, bringing you all the reaction to what should be an active day in the transfer market. I very much hope you'll join us then. That includes you, Joe, by the way. We'll take your calls as well as being being joined by some great guests. Make sure you're there. Simon, Jim and Manu Petit coming up next.